Hello and welcome from Milton Keynes Simply Race facility, and this is the first round of the United States Sprint Cup Championship from Simply Race. The drivers are just on their practice qualifying session now. It's the first group of two that we'll have this evening, coming from the Homestead track, and there's a bit of contact already. You don't need that during practice. And there's Darren Kirk just being shown there, second car in this line, in the 130 racing car. And, it's just getting held up there by the Cam Sport car. So they come through onto the main straight. There's a big bowl on this course, and you can get a really good slipstream. So this is where we'll see most of the overtaking when it comes to the race later on. But for now, they're just doing some lap times just to get them onto the grid. So Darren Kirk is leading at the moment with a 1:18.9. We'll expect these times to come down, especially now he's got a tow. As you see him come around to the start-finish straight, he gets a bang wheels from I believe that is Colin Talbot. But he still goes fastest. Actually, no, Steve Usher goes fastest. My apologies, with a 1:18.8. Who's just ahead of him there, it seems. And Darren Kirk in second place. Andrew Fellows in third. Good from him to see him up there at the moment. And, it won't be Andrew Fellows, because Andrew Fellows is actually behind me, so whoever's in that car.
Who's in top 9?
Okay, so sorry for that slight delay there, but we are back with the practice session. We see with the correct names now, so everybody sorted out. Sorry for that little technical glitch there. But Darren Kirk is actually fastest with a 1:18.8. You see them getting. I think these guys, especially you can see Chris Hardwick now in that car. Might need to punch out a bit. There's no need to be fighting really each other in this session at the moment. They see, that was very close there. And Chris Hardwick onto the back of that Cam Sport car. You see them all come through. It's a very tight first section. Come very fast into this first and second gear corners to start off with. But yeah, it's a nice mixture of straights and nice tight hairpins where you can get down, get good braking zones, and get up the inside of someone. As we see an onboard down here in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So this is basically what the driver sees. You can see how much tow they're getting, what gear they're in, what speed they're doing. As you come here, he'll now have a big braking zone down to about second gear or so, even first actually, to see a massive dive up the inside from someone, and there's no real need for it at the moment. This is what we'll expect to see during the race. Hopefully it'll be even better than this, and but for the moment this is just practice session. But everybody's trying to get a good tow so they can have a really good lap time to get them higher up the grid. For the start of the race. So
I think it is all about the tow on this one. As you can see by the smaller screen that you can see in the bottom right hand side of your screen, you'll see the little four arrows, which are currently grey at the moment, but every time they get a good slipstream, you'll see they'll start to turn green, and if all four of them are red, it means a perfect slipstream. So as you can see there now, four of them are flickering there, so they want to stay in that line there as best as possible until the last second to pull out that slipstream. But slight bit of contact there by Chris Hardwick there, and one of the I think that was the team. Is that the DM Racing? Is it?
No, I don't think that was. I think that was one of the Walker brothers. Walker team, sorry.
Yes, Walker teams. But
so Jack Walker, I think, is the only Walker in this group. Yes, he is. So at the moment, Josh BANWELL is fastest with a 1:18.6, with Darren Kirk in second place and Chris Hardwick in third. So Chris Hardwick and Darren Kirk are obviously both in the 130 racing team. They can work together using the slipstream and give each other a tow on the separate laps to get them higher up the field.
So are they actually next to each other at the moment?
Yes, that's the advantage of having a teammate. I don't think they're next to each other at the moment.
So they're not actually working together.
Chris will get a really good tow off the back of this car, however, in front of him.
So you can just see he's got those 3 green arrows there in the bottom corner. He's looking for 4 red arrows. That is the perfect slipstream.
Yeah, so this is on board with Josh BANWELL at the moment, who's the quickest driver so far in this session. And he'll get a slight two off the Cam Sport car in front of him. So come through to complete another lap, so didn't go fastest that time around. He did 1:20.3, so that's way off the pace at the moment. As that Cam Sport car gets out of the way, and Joshua will be thankful for that. He's now got a pretty clean run. He can start to push hard for a really good lap time. Looks quite Jordan-esque, that car, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's personally my favourite one.
Yeah,
and it's
I really like it. Yeah, it's very cool. These cars do look really, really good actually, and they drive superbly well. This is why we chose these cars for the championship. There's a bit of a succeeder to the SRTCC.
Yeah.
But this is only a 3-round championship, but there will be a lot of action involved in it so far.
So here we go. We're on board with Dan Ryan now. It's actually in the shark-coloured car. It's one of the walker cars. It looks like has just gone off there in the background. So as you can see, as it comes past, you see the teeth at the front. There you go. As he goes for a move down the inside of that Red Stripe Racing car there. But doesn't quite make the move done, as there's a Cam Sport car reversing back onto the track in the background there. So Dan Ryan in a perfect position here for a good lap time. He's got a good slipstream. He's right there behind the Red Stripe Racing car. He's just going to pull out. You'll see as he gets around to the front that he'll get right behind it, and it'll be very hard to accelerate and carry on. So he has to choose the moment to pull out. There he does, and let's see what time he pulls up across the line. There he goes. He moves up into 4th place with the best time of 1:19.239, which is his fastest time qualifying so far. So current standings of this qualifying practice: Josh Banwell currently in 1st, Darren Kirk in 2nd, Chris Hardwick 3rd, Dan Ryan now in 4th, who you just saw, Colin Talbot in 5th, Chris Wilson in 6th, Sean King in 7th, Andrew Fellows, who's actually just started the session because he was standing behind me because he was unsure if he was in this one. So Andrew Fellows now on his 2nd lap, I think, at this one. He's in 9th place, and then Jack Walker currently in 10th place, and we can see a massive oversteer moment there on the grass from Chris Hardwick as he wrestles it back onto the circuit. Yeah. Now he's one-handed trying to cool down a bit now.
I think he's given up on that lap.
I would have given up on that lap as well, yes.
So there's a yellow in the 1st sector and the 2nd sector, so you can see on the bars at the top now, it's just the 1st sector's gone away. But that's what, if we have a yellow in any sector, that's what we'll see as a bar across the top of the screen. We've got a replay here.
This looks like one of the Walker cars.
Yeah, he turns in just a bit too late on the brakes, goes off track, but then rejoins hopefully without any problems. Actually, is this where Chris got...
Is this where Chris had to do some avoiding?
I think so.
No, but no, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so...
Is this on board with, I believe this is Darren Kirk.
Looks like his car. That's the Virtually Entertained sponsored.
Yeah,
and
so Darren didn't have a very good lap last time around. It was 1:23.3, so it's way far off. We see one of the Walker cars again. Oh, that's okay.
So Dan Ryan, who we're on board with now, is now actually the fastest person on the circuit with the best time of 1:18.6. It was very close behind, and it's not very
not by
a lot of time.
600ths of a second there, so not much at all. So it's really, really tight for the top 5, all within a second of each other. As you see Dan Ryan now going a bit wide out the exit of that corner. And he's got two cars ahead of him. He could potentially, if he gets a really good run out of this last corner, get a tow. And that would set him up for a really fantastic lap. So you can see how much steering input he's putting in. This is quite realistic to what the guys are actually using in the sim. So you can see, and they use first gear a lot. In other series, you wouldn't use first gear at all. You completely ignore it off from the start. You know?
Yeah, but found with these cars, they've got quite a long first gear. These ones, most of the probably about first gear on the oval part itself. Well, the drivers have got 15 minutes of this session, but they've used 13 minutes of it so far, so there's just 2 minutes remaining of this practice session, and then we'll see the next group taking a seat very shortly. So just see these guys finishing off as they go very close, and there's contact, and that is Dan Ryan on the grass. He's completely out of control. Is he going to collect another car? He does.
So that was Josh Banwell there, who's actually a 2nd place car as well, so that really didn't work. Hopefully we won't see that at the end of the race, but that was a bit too aggressive really from Dan. I don't think there was any need to squeeze him as much onto the curb as that, especially in the practice session as well. I mean, you're not going to gain anything from it.
Yeah, this is purely practice. I mean, the drivers have got a 1-lap pole shootout, which they're on by themselves, so there's no excuse for messing the lap up. Apart from themselves, so we'll see how that gets going. But we've got about 1 minute left of this qualifying practice session. So we'll see who we're going just a moment.
So you can see Darren Kirk getting a good old bit of oppo on him, spinning out a tiny bit. I think it's one of the Walker cars, again, Jack Walker, I think, in that orange and black car. Just having a bit of just struggling to get used to these cars a tiny bit on this track. Obviously, some drivers have had practice here quite a bit. Colin Talbot, I know, has definitely had some practice, especially, and Darren Kirk as well. So a lot of the top guys you'll see, they would have been around this track before, so they know exactly where to go and what to do. So you see Chris Hardwick now in 4th place, just put in a 1:19.1 last time around, but that's not going to move him up any further. We're actually on board with him as well, so it looks like he's backed off as well. He'd be doing a lot more than 50 miles an hour through that corner. And still Dan Ryan in 1st position and Josh Banwell in 2nd place. So Chris is backed right off, just going to let the other car through. So that's the other 130 racing car. Darren Kirk, I believe, just gone through past him. Josh Banwell, the yellow car, just going through there. So we'll see if Josh can pull something out of the bag on this last lap. As he had that contact with, I believe it was Darren just beforehand. So we'll see if he can go quicker now. He'll have a good toe off that car in front as long as he doesn't screw this last corner up. We want a really lengthy gap between the car in front of you going onto the straight, because then you can just close right up. You could probably gain about 3 or 4 tenths maybe on that lap just by having a really good toe. Definitely a good, possibly 8 to 10 mile an hour. So which will give you a great run into turn 1, especially come the race. So that'll be something interesting to see. See Chris now blipping into 5th. Chris Wilson just ahead. Then the red and white car that you're looking at with Josh Banwell just behind him, getting a great toe, as I said. And Josh doesn't go quicker that time around, and nor does Chris Hardwick, so they stay as they are. So it's Dan Ryan from Josh Banwell and Darren Kirk, it seems, he's going to be the top 3 as we run down the time to almost 0 now. It's Chris Wilson. He looks quite promising. He's got quite a cool livery, and the cars all look really cool, so that's going to be something special. But that is our session over. So it's Dan Ryan who is fastest in this session, from Josh Banwell, Darren Kirk, Chris Hardwick, and I can't see everybody else, but I'm pretty sure that was no problem. So so we have Chris Hardwick in 4th, Chris Wilson in 5th, Colin Talbot in 6th, Sean King in 7th, Andrew Fellows in 8th, Steve Usher in 9th, and Jack Walker in 10th. That rounds out our practice session. We will then be shortly handing over to our second practice session, where everybody will then jump back into their pods and the second session will get underway. So welcome back to our second session, and in this session there will be pretty much the same calibre of the first session. There's no real difference between in skill level, at least, from the first pack of drivers, so everybody was just muddled up into two groups, and then from this session and the last session the times will determine the first race and the second race. It's kind of going into an A race and a B race. The A race will be the top calibre of drivers and the B race will be the bottom half of that field. So in this session we've got David Robson, Dave Hedges, John Walker, Matt Goodger-Scott, Michael Boulding, Mark Winwood, Steve Boyce, Will Murphy, Nathan Burton and Dane Oliver. So these guys are all very well known to Simply Race. They're all Simply Race veterans, come here quite a lot, and either in the last touring car round, the SRES, this endurance series that we run here at Simply Race, or Friday Night Unlimiteds, for example. So they're all very used to the pods and very used to these cars. I think most people have had quite a lot of practice, so we'll be expecting some quick times here. I'm expecting especially people like Matt Goodger-Scott, for example, to be very, very fast, but we'll see. And as they go on to their first flying laps, this is on board with Dave Robertson now. So he comes down to the first corner. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if everybody's nice and clean through the first couple of corners. As you come in very, very fast, pretty much on the limiter of these cars, and but very nice and tidy there. You can see the first gear topping out about 84 mile an hour, so they've got a huge first gear on these cars, which will be really useful for getting the power down coming out of tight corners such as this one. But yeah, it's done a pretty good job through there. As we see someone, that's Purple Helmet's car, I think that's Will Murphy possibly, just making a move on one of the Walker cars. I'm guessing that'll be Walker. Yes, it is. So that's Will Murphy there, just getting another view of that. Nice replay of him going up the inside of John Walker, so he gets a better run onto his first flying lap. As I'm joined again by Anthony Jordan, and Dane Oliver comes through to complete his time, but then that time is smashed by Mark Winwood, who gets a second quicker on a 1:18.9.
That's a very quick lap for a first lap, isn't it?
That's extremely fast, so expecting these 1:30 race cars to be very, very fast. As Steve Boyce now goes fast on a 1:18.9, but just under a tenth quicker than Mark. So, and then Dave Robertson. So those guys looking pretty quick at the moment. Dave Hedges, that's one that's popped up at the time. It's only 2 tenths away from the pole, and he's looking cool. So that's this is a new team, the DM Racing team, with Dave behind the wheel. That's these guys. They haven't really done well. DM Racing, we haven't seen them here before in the SRES or SRTC. So this is a brand new team coming into the season.
Well, one of the drivers, Michael Boulding, is actually the person in fourth place. He's also a member of this team, and he has done the SRTCC the last season. He took part in that. And he was quite competitive in some of the races, so starting a new series here at Simply Race, and we hope to see good things. He says he's done a lot of practice, and we'll just see how he gets on. But yeah, fingers crossed for Michael Boulding, as he has done a lot of practice, and you see him there in his very bright green car with his red nose, very distinctive livery, so we'll be able to see him from a mile off. But yeah, we hope to see good things from Michael Boulding.
Yeah, I think Michael Boulding is definitely one to watch. So basically them two liveries car, they're basically opposites of one another. Where there is green on one car, there'll be black on another, and vice versa. So yeah, that's two cars that definitely stand out and ones to look out for during this event. See Dave Robson now fastest again on a 1:18.3, so that is a cracking lap time for only his second flying lap. With Steve Boyce half a second behind, and then Mark Winwood not far off shy of that. So the top say 7 here, covered by 1 second, which is pretty close in a grid of only 10 cars so far. I was expecting Matt Goodger-Scott to be a bit further up than what he is at the moment, at 1.7 seconds.
Do you know what? I was expecting that as well. I mean, yeah, we're only 5 minutes into this 15 minutes of practice, and he did do a cheeky practice session beforehand as well. So, you know, I am sure.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the toe as well. So you can see a good indication of his toe now with Dave Robertson as we're on board. So you see these green arrows that you get on the right side of the screen just before you have your...
But I still don't think this is going to be a good lap for him, because that sector time there that popped up, he was still 1.1 seconds down in this second sector, so I just don't think he's going to have the legs on this one. We'll see what he does when he crosses the line.
Just getting a toe off Will Murphy in that purple helmet.
Great toe, but...
Yeah, you can see how much that toe pulled him in there, but he's still... I think it's
purple helmet in front, gets very loose there. He just got one of those rear wheels on the grass and shot him straight off there.
Yeah, Will Murphy not having a great time into that first corner there. So see Dave carrying on. So Dave actually could get a good lap in here, because he had a good toe into turn one from Will. So with Will going off the road and not having any yellows there because he was right on the accident, it seems that as long as he keeps it clean, he should be able to have a good lap time. He's about 2 tenths down in that first sector, but you never know, he could pull it back with good rhythm through the next few corners. See Cam Sport car just ahead of him, that'll be Matt Scott, who's still in 9th place, expecting him to move a bit further up than that. But it's still Dave Robson who we're watching now and on board with at the moment, just getting a bit of a slide coming out of that final corner before the long bowl, before we reach the start-finish straight again. So nice mixture of banked, flat-out NASCAR kind of course, and then the infield as well. So it's a good mixture that we've got here. So expecting some really good racing later on when we get the heat started. But, Nathan Burton pops up into 2nd place, just half a second shy from Dave Robertson. See if Dave does a quicker lap time. You can see this is Nathan Burton now, just after that blinding lap, had a bit of a spin coming out of turn one, so he's lost it. Oh, nearly lost it again there, but gathers it all back. So that was a quick lap from Nathan. We've been expecting to see some pace finally, after just having really bad luck from SR.
So we've got a replay of it. So very fast corner this one, very difficult braking zone. In turn one, takes a lot of curb, it just unsettles the car, goes wide onto the Astro, and the back end steps around and almost and does a full 360 for good measure, and almost spins again.
It's lucky Matt didn't collect him there, but he's got going again. So really, I think if he actually just let off the steering there slightly when he got onto the Astro, I think he could have possibly saved that as the track kind of comes back towards you.
It does, but
here's one that I thought would be a bit higher up. Dane Oliver, who's pretty much now a Super X veteran, and
I would definitely say that.
Yeah, done a lot of racing here in the past. So, and Dane maybe not getting used to these cars as quickly as everybody else, but he pops in at 118.4 last time around, which is just 20 thousandths shy of his quickest so far. So just a tiny bit more needs to come from him, and still only a second off the pole time from David Robertson so far. So not miles away, but still just a little bit still to be found. See Mark Winwood 3 tenths away from that Dave Robertson's time, and then Nathan Burton looking good for Nathan at the moment. Steve Boyce in 4th, so the top 4 covered by half a second, and then the top 7 covered by the second, as we see this 130 racing car going off. I don't know if that's who'd that be? That'll be Mark Winwood, I believe. So Mark having a bit of an excursion going off track there.
So I'm just looking at my timing screen. Compared from the first practice group, David Robertson has actually gone fastest of all drivers so far. So the fastest lap in the first practice session that we had was a 118.6. That was set by Dan Ryan. And then David Robertson in this session has done a 118.3. So he's 3 tenths fastest in the first round. So David Robertson looking like the favourite one for this first round.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely on it at the moment, as Mark Winwood getting a toe off. Oh no, sorry, that's my apologies. David Robson getting a toe off Mark Winwood coming through. So these two are actually teammates. They're different liveries, but there's, as in the SRES, there's 2 different cars, so they've gone for 2 different liveries here. So they go side by side almost onto the main straight. But Dave only did a 119.0 on that last lap, so not enough to extend his time on this, but he's still got a good few tenths in hand. Don't really want Mark to hold him up now either, but Mark will be looking to be on a charge as well, to just try and get a tiny bit closer to David maybe. There's a bit of inter-team rivalry here, I imagine, but still they'll be working together, I'm sure, to pull out a gap and then sort themselves out later on in the race. But to be 1 and 2 for a team at this early on in the stage of the session would be really, really good to see that 130 racing team, especially with points. They've got 4 cars, whereas I think every other team
it's
only got 2.
So, yes.
So I think they'll be pretty solid for championship points at the moment, especially on this round. But you see, right there, Dave taking a bit of a shorter but faster line through there. As they come to the pole now, so Dave's going to get back, if anything, just to I'm going to change.
Well, we'll have my microphone instead then, just but yeah, so quite a good scrap here going on for David Robertson and I think it's Mark Winwood. David Robertson pulling out the slipstream into turn 1. It's these two drivers clearly working together to get a good lap time in. So 11 minutes into this 15-minute practice qualifying. These two drivers clearly working hard to try and stay at that top, and it clearly is working. So
we'll just see if my mic's working. Hopefully it's okay. I think Ben's on it now, so thumbs up. It's all good. Sorry about that. It was just a problem with a lagging battery, but we're back now, and Will Murphy, he's gone down a bit. He's in 6th position now on last lap with a 1:45. I don't know what he did there. Must have came in for tyres or something, or backed right off, but he's definitely, it looks like he's going for it now for the first sector, so we'll keep an eye on him, just see what he does. He's got Dane Oliver behind him, I believe. So my apologies, Nathan Burton behind him. So Nathan's actually still in 3rd place, so he's doing quite well from there. You see, there we go. So we're on board with Nathan now. Just going down and going to first gear. It goes a tiny bit wide there. Oh, and then gets there's an apex somewhere in there, but he got a wad load of oversteer as well coming out, so that would have pretty much taken a good half a second out of that. So might as well bail out this one. But if he tries to tag onto the back of Will, he can possibly get a tow coming into the next straight again. So it's not all
wide there as well. So
yeah, this might even help Nathan out a bit more here. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. As we see,
doesn't look like he's going to have a tow there. He's way too far back.
See Michael Bolding, just ahead in the DM Racing green and black car, and won't be getting a tow off that. It's a bit too far away, but it's still a good pointer to follow to see if he's doing anything that Will could potentially use to improve.
I mean, you can gain a lot of time in just this first sector here. Coming into these slower corners, it's all about that braking zone into that first corner. If you nail it, you gain so much time, and if you get it slightly wrong, ruin everything. Yeah. It is all or nothing into that first corner. And if you think at the start of this race it's a rolling lap, these guys are going to be side by side going into that. It's going to be carnage. Personally, I think.
No, I hope not.
I reckon there's going to be a huge one.
I hope not. We'll have a bit of a moment through that first sector, but we see is a onboard shot from basically the left rear wheel now as they come down, and that's a Cam Sport car going out the way there. I think that's Matt Scott just letting everybody go through, but you can see it's pretty good camera angle, that one. I like that one, so we might use that later on during the race, but he may be able to get a tow off the back of Mike Boulding. Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks really cool. So see them coming round the bowl now, so they'll be getting up to about 145, 150 miles an hour in a tow coming through here. So let's see if he goes faster now. So his last lap time was a 1:19.7, so 7 tenths off his fastest. So he goes through and he does 20 thousandths off his fastest, but not far off. Like that, he did have a bit of a moment in the first sector last time around. So let's see if he can keep it clean, as we've got a really fast yellow in sector 2, but that seems to go away. Dane Oliver still in 9th place. I'm really surprised by that.
He has no tow. He's all on his own. He's got absolutely nothing to help him. So he's there just by himself. He's not gaining. He's not losing, but I mean he's just not going to be gaining anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that the tow's massively important here. Okay, so apologies for that. We see, yeah, so we're carrying on with Dane. I mean, it's, and especially Matt as well. I was expecting Matt to see a bit further up the field.
Yeah, as well. So
it's a good surprise to see Dave Hedges quite far up as well, as he goes 4th fast, actually, just as I say that. So Dave Hedges pops in a faster time than Nathan Burton, and to go 4th fastest. So, yeah, good display from him.
Yep.
So that car looks pretty cool as well. So it's a nice red nose cone to disguise the car.
Kind of reminds me of the old McLaren, is it? Where they had the red nose on it? Was it the Mercedes?
I can't remember.
I remember an F1 car distinctively having a red nose on it.
Okay, I'll have to look that one up.
I'll have to look that one up as I'm watching on a different screen a purple helmets car. I believe it's Will Murphy
going wide
very
again.
wide at turn 1, and having a Cam Sport car overtake it again. So got many different camera angles here today. We've upgraded, so we've got lots of different camera angles.
So saying that, Will Murphy's just moved up to 3rd place, so he had a good last lap on that one. So he moved only just under 2 tenths away from Dave Robson's time. I think Dave should literally just pretty much get out, to be honest, because Dave's absolutely smashed it with that second lap that he put in was good enough for pole. But Mark Winwood just under a tenth off, so that's top 3 is Dave Robson, Mark Winwood, Will Murphy, and Steve Boyce, David Hedges, Nathan Burton in the 6th place. And that is the end of that session. So that was an interesting session. It's good to see some really fast people out there, but that will allow for the first race of the day, which will be underway very shortly. Okay, so back to the USSC United States Series Cup at Simply Race, and this is the one-lap shootout that we're going to have to determine the grid for the B race. And this will be our first. See, I was just trying to warm up their tiny bit, but they'll only get one shot at this, so see who bottles it and who gets the pole. So it might be worth just backing off a few tenths just to make sure you get a good position onto the grid. But the only car that will be on track in the driver's point will be them. They can't actually see anybody else, so there's no one else that they can blame for messing up their lap times. It's only themselves. So we'll see some interesting lap times, I think, being put in here. So as we see, the white's slightly darker now than what it was in practice beforehand, but we're going to be on board with Dane Honour, I believe, for this lap. He's come through, switch to other cars later on this session, but everybody will be now putting in a time as we watch Dane through the first corner, nice and tight through there. Could use a tiny bit more road. He comes in, he'll be first gear through here, and we'll see lap times randomly appear on the driver's screen just up on the top left where we've got the name. They'll be popping up at random at points, and we'll have to roll through them as we go along. Now Dane just coming into the second sector of the lap. Nice and tidy through there, bit of astro, but that's pretty good from him. So we could see some people popping up pretty good times. So Dane wasn't that fast in practice, but if he has a good steady lap, which is more of Dane's rhythm, then we should see him putting a pretty good time here, and hopefully we'll be able to challenge for the pole. So we'll see if Matt Good-Scott's any better than what he was in practice. We see him here in the Cam Sport car. It's a nice looking livery on that car, because he's a tiny bit ahead of Dane, so we'll see his time come through first, but we might see some random times pop up now. So we'll see what Chris Wilson can do as well. It'll be quite interesting to see where he slots in the position. So Colin Talbot comes through the 119 first, but then is smashed by Chris Wilson on 119.5. And these times are very close. Look at that, Matt Good-Scott just 200ths of a second off. 200ths of a second off, my apologies. See Dane Oliver in third place, so a good display from him. But Colin only 2 tenths off Chris Wilson's time, so that's impressive. Now let's see what Michael Boulding can do. Because he's been shown promising in the practice session earlier, so let's see what his time can do. He goes only 8th fastest, 1.7 off, so that's I'm sure not where he wanted to be. And Andrew Fellows coming through, but Jack Walker 26 seconds off. He obviously had a bit of a nightmare lap on that last one, but he's spinning off there. But that is our first qualifying shootout session for the B group, and we'll return now. I think we'll have the A group slotting in for. Oh no, we're going straight into the B race. In fact, so the top go through to the A race as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see how both groups get on. But yeah, Ben's just advising all the drivers now, try and be careful on the first lap, because this first corner we've been talking about, it is very tricky. It's a two-part. It's a lot like Daytona road course. In fact, that's first kind of a double left-hander, and it tightens up the further you go in. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. What are your thoughts of this track at the moment so far, Darren, as you've been around?
I love it. It's nice and wide, got some draft, got some good corners. Just hope I don't bin it.
I'm sure you won't. Hopefully you won't. I'm planning to see some good racing here today. I think these cars really are set up for, nice, fair racing.
Yeah, I mean, if you see all the drivers, because the tracks are so wide, they've got plenty of room to manoeuvre. The cars are very stable as well. And I think, yeah, we're going to see some really close wheel-to-wheel racing. Don't forget there is a pit stop as well, so we're going to have some strategy there. Let's see who makes their fuel. I think it's just under a litre a lap, so I think you're going to get about 22, 23 laps. Some people might go a little bit longer. 20, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember what it was last time, but it was about 30-something laps we did, 35 laps. So somewhere in the middle.
Awesome. So we're just going to get started very, very short within the next minute or so, I believe. And it's going to be a very exciting start to the season here at Simply Race for the United States Sprint Cup. I was just thanks Ben for reminding me there. I was very tongue-tied there. But yeah, we're going to see some interesting battles develop throughout here, because I believe we've got a really good first fast front pack, and then the mid pack's going to be great as well. I don't think there's going to be really an end group as such. Everybody's going to be, I think there'll be a few people that sprint away at the front and they'll help each other with the toe and to get away. But I believe the mid pack will be pretty tight, as we see the cars now lining up in the pit lane. So will be a rolling start as well. So we'll start behind safety cars. We're joined by Will Murphy, who's got himself into that top group. So you're feeling happy about it? It's like, oh my God, you're sunburned.
Sunburned, yeah.
You been on holiday or something? Or?
No, I've been at Santa Pod all day.
Okay, that's a good way to get sunburn, I suppose. So what are you, obviously new season, new cars, you enjoying them?
They're not different to the normal cars we're used to with the SRTCC. It's not a lot about the air in this, and if it wasn't for the first sort of session now to get an understanding of the aero, without that one good lap I had with a toe, there'd have been no way I'd be third on the grid today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing that the toes affecting the cars massively, so we're going to see as soon as if someone can get a break and get away, if there's a big pack behind them with a toe, they're going to just close right up again as long as they work with each other, not against each other. So as we watch Steve Usher in that dark green car, there's quite a few green cars in this one. We also see two CamSport cars, so we've got Matt Scott and Colin Talbot in second and fourth. We'll be expecting to see them two working together. Chris Wilson, after a good qualifying session from him, will line up on pole position for this first race of the new season. Dane Oliver in third, that's where we expect him to be, not further down like it was in practice earlier on. So yeah, expecting some good things from all drivers here. Even though this is the B group, they are still very experienced Simply Race drivers. And you can see some weaving about, getting some heat into their tyres. That will all matter when it comes down to the first corner. And what are you expecting from the first corner, Adrian?
Oh, I was expecting a big crash, but we'll see how it gets on. I mean, the drivers have had a lot of practice. They first corner's like, so let's just see how it gets on and see where we go. But all looking mighty fine there, aren't they?
Yeah, they look pretty good. They look almost kind of Formula Ford-esque, even though they're not. I believe they're Mazda powered.
Yes,
so
yes.
These type of cars. So 2-litre Mazda engines. So also known as the USF 2000 cars. So this is going to be interesting. They're just coming around the bowl now with the Corvette safety car. We'll peel off to the left-hand side and they will go racing into turn one. And hopefully everybody keeps their nose clean. There's no damage on. Thankfully, that makes it a bit more fair.
Yeah,
so especially with the open-wheel cars, they can just rejoin and get back on with it. But it's a strategic game here with the pit stops as well.
It is indeed. So
the safety car peels off. We're get ready to go racing.
There we go. So the green flag goes off. The cars peel off. They're nearly four abreast now going to turn one. This is not going to end well, I don't think. But you can see the turn one there on the side of your screen there. You've got two angles of turn one. Here they come in. They're three abreast into the braking zone. They look like they all get round nice and safe, which is absolutely fantastic. So really great start there from these guys. The Red Stripe Racing of Chris Wilson has got a fantastic start. He has pulled a gap already, and there's already contact between that looks like Sean King and Colin Talbot there for fourth place. We are on board now with Colin Talbot on the TV cam there. You can see there's a big slipstream there, as it looks like Michael Boulding, or I think that's not Volker. It's Dane Oliver. Sorry, pulls out the slipstream. Doesn't make the move done though, so he stays behind Matt Scott by the looks of it. So here we are now looking at Michael Boulding now in that very bright green car, who's just behind the set in almost same livery. As we're up ahead, it's Dane Oliver pulling out the slipstream again. Doesn't make the move done. But Michael Boulding nearly outbraking himself there into the back of Sean King. Oh, it's not his teammate actually. That is a different team, even though they've got the very same livery. Yeah,
that's
good. It is.
But Dane Oliver's going to have a great toe off here. So, and Matt Scott might have a good toe as well from Chris Wilson. As long as you see Chris nearly got a second lead now, but you can see Dane closing all the time as he comes through this this last corner. In fact, he's going to have a great run into turn one as long as he keeps in line with that car. As we switch to I believe.
This is pod cam. This is pod one.
Yeah, this is.
You should be able to see me wave my hand in the background. Yes, you can.
That's Michael Boulding. So as you see, everybody come through these first couple of corners again. So it's all been very clean so far, and a good show of respect from all the drivers. As they need to manage their think about managing fuel. If you're not in a battle with someone, you've got to be thinking about that strategic.
Yeah, I
stuff
say
later
because
on
you've got the
when
fuel and
it's
tyre wear on, so drivers have got to really watch out for that one.
Absolutely, and it's the debate whether you go with tyres or not. I'd say that probably if the tyre wear isn't too bad, you're going to stick in the same set you're on and save yourself 30 seconds in the pit stop.
Yeah.
Good to see Matt Scott get a slap load of oversteer coming out of that.
He does. He's not going to help his tyres. He's really got to watch out for that one.
You can see the toe on Dane Oliver's pod just building there. Went up to 4 bars, so he's getting maximum toe off Matt Scott. It goes slightly wide and gets a clean exit. But we see Chris Wilson got a massive oversteer moment coming out that last corner. So Matt Scott is going to go up the inside of him into the bowl, and Matt Scott actually takes the lead, as we see from the data cam. So hopefully we can get on board with them. So that's Colin Talbot, who's dropped back a tiny bit. He's got Michael Boldy in front, as we see Chris on board with Chris Wilson now, as Matt Scott got ahead of him after he came out that last corner, had a massive moment and managed to save it.
He did indeed. So we come off. Here's Chris Wilson now. He's pulled out the slipstream. He's side by side. No, he just hasn't got the legs on it. He pulls back into the slipstream, looks for the move, doesn't make it done. Matt Scott cuts across in front of him. And both drivers go round, and it looks like all the drivers further behind all get round safely as well. So as a further in, still a very, very close battle here at the front, but I say this is a 45-minute long race and we've still got 41 minutes to go, so there's still plenty of time for things to be done. And Colin Talbot right on the back of Michael Boulding, pulls to the outside. He's going to force him to the outside. Is he going to get the cut back? Doesn't look like he's going to get it done. No, he just slots in behind. Yeah, so Michael Boulding kind of all over the place there, holding him back, and now that's put Colin Talbot under danger from Sean King.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see if Matt Scott can break away from this pack now, but I think Chris Wilson's definitely going to have him to see it. But
there's Colin Talbot for a move.
From Colin. Oh,
goes on the inside, there's contact.
Oh dear, hopefully they'll try and get away with it. No, they don't.
No, you see, that is the issue with Formula cars. You can interlock those wheels, and that can happen. I say if they were in a touring car or anything like that, they would just bounce off each other. Yes, they would still spin, but it wouldn't have been bad by that. And
yeah, it's a shame to see that there. So we can see Colin's not happy with that.
So yeah,
so he just moved up the inside of him, just got collected by Sean as well.
Yeah, so it was
so unlucky.
Yeah, that was just very unfortunate for Colin. I mean, he just got slightly understeered, went into the side of Michael Boulding there, and all of that.
Really wide there coming out of turn 1, so nearly lost the lead, led to Chris Wilson. So these top 3 have closed right up again now as Matt held up Chris a bit, so that's backed him into Dane Oliver. So Dane will look to try and capitalise from these guys, but really they want to be working with each other at the moment to try and break away from the likes of Michael Boulding and Andrew Fellows.
Boulding's in a very dangerous his own now, unless he catches up to this group of 3, which if they start fighting is very possible it's going to happen. But if they work together, as you say, and they start pulling a gap, Michael Boulding is going to be left all on his own in no man's land, and he's just going to gain no ground whatsoever. His only solace will be the pit stops when they come around. But
we're finding that Chris Wilson's having a lot of oversteer moments during the lap, and that can start to degrade his tyres quite rapidly.
He needs to look after those tyres.
So we're on board with Chris Wilson
second place,
right now,
Chris
so
Wilson
on the red stripe racing car as he comes through the bowl, so you can see the toe building up, and you can see it just inching closer all the time. It's so fast, up to 140 miles an hour.
He's got a great toe. He's got to stay in it though. There you go, flickers red there. He stays in it. Is he going to get across the line before turn 1? He pulls out the slipstream. I think he pulled out just a fraction
too early,
but it looks like he has got the inside.
Oh, that's very close. He went all 4 wheels over the curb going into turn 1 there, but he grabs the lead back. Oh no, he gets hit!
And
he gets hit by Jack Wilson.
Jack Walker.
My apologies, Jack Walker. That was. I'm amazed.
Jack Walker. And he spins again in the background there, as you can see.
Not a great time in this, but this means that Dane Oliver and Michael Boulding are side by side coming up. What a change of events here. That's like Matt Scott get away, but these guys obviously, if they work with each other, they can pull that back with the toe.
So Michael Boulding himself there, and he almost collected Chris Wilson again there.
Yeah, it's some great racing here as we see Michael Boulding now on the grass as Dane Oliver goes through his 3rd place, and Dane's going to look to make a move on Chris. He goes up the inside into that corner. Really nice move through there.
Yep, Chris aware of his impending doom there, and moves out of the way, lets him have it.
Could have been tactical as now he gets the toe off Dane.
He does indeed. He's also going to get a bump draft off Michael Boulding behind. Michael stays behind him, so
I was really unlucky for Chris there to get collected by Jack Walker. I mean, I'm amazed he actually stayed going straight and he didn't lose actually that much time.
I'm really surprised that, as I say, lucky damage isn't on, because that would have been a wreck. But there we go. Chris Wilson pulls out of the slipstream on Dane Oliver, goes to the inside again. Hopefully we don't get a replay. It looks like who was that? Michael Boulding. I got confused there of who it was. And they're side by side. There's slight contact. Mike taps the back of Dane Oliver there. Almost collects Chris Wilson. But they all managed to survive and get round. That's absolutely amazing. But I don't know how they managed that. But
I think you can kind of, if the car starts spinning, if you actually just turn in and then straight up the wheel pretty much straight away, you can try and
you can save it again. But Chris Wilson.
There's a massive move there from Michael Boulding. He's really overshot and that's hit Dane Oliver out. So
that is quite questionable.
There might have to be some investigation of that from race control to let Dane back through, because that was a massive move by Michael Boulding, but I don't think that was very fair.
No, I think he just missed the braking zone there, and he used Dane as a brake there, and Chris Wilson looking for a move there, but doesn't close the gap. But there we go, there's Michael Boulding moving over, letting Dane Oliver back through. That's excellent to see.
But just as he does that, he's on back into the straight.
He is indeed.
So that was very tactical.
Yeah.
Very Hamilton-esque, yes. So we'll see that now. Michael will be closing massively now on Dane into the toe. So it's literally, this race is all about the toe and who's got it. But see, Matt Goodgescott's now got a 5-second lead on everything.
He has.
So as long as these guys are scrapping, which they are at the moment, and losing quite a lot of time, Matt's going to...
Michael Boulding.
He
does, he moves out the gap.
Goes into second place again, so Dane, I don't think will be happy with that move that happened earlier. But,
there you go.
So see Chris Wilson now just sitting back in fourth place, watching these two fight it out and see if possibly they could take each other out, and therefore Chris will then move through into second place. Excuse me, as we see on board with Chris now.
Indeed. Now, if Dane stays behind Michael Boulding now, of course he's going to have the advantage when it comes to on the oval section. He's going to have that slipstream, and he's going to be right behind him. So this is what we like to see throughout this race. It is just tiptoeing past each other every single lap, and you can't really tell until it's on the last lap who's got the right time.
Well, you see if you're in second on last lap and you're pretty close to the first, if you get a good toe, you can end up just breezing
Yeah.
main straight. So it's going to be very see who gets a really good toe. As we see Dane Oliver now obviously getting the toe on Michael Boulding coming around. You don't really want to go on top of the bowl because it's just, you know...
you got a further distance. There's actually not a lot of grip up there as well, so there'll be marbles, there'll be grit, there'll be all sorts.
Especially going through the
but
race,
he pulls back in the slipstream, he goes back onto the racing line now, so he's on the outside into turn one. Probably isn't going to go well for Dane. Very close. He gets a wheel on the grass. There's a slight snatch there, and that's got Chris Wilson now back on the tail of Dane Oliver. So Chris Wilson is back in this one now, and he'll be very thankful for Dane for making that slight error there.
Dane did well to hold that really, but he's still within shouting distance of White. So Michael went very defensive on the curbs there, so possibly may have pushed Dane wide. Off onto the grass, but luckily he got away with it as he just straightened the car up nicely.
If it was only very slight, I think. So I will defend Michael slightly, purely because of the fact that probably didn't see Dane's car there, and it was quite back. You saw it was rear wheel on front wheel, so he's not right beside him. So
we see that gap from Michael Boulding to Matt Goodgescott now coming down. It's come down about 2 tenths on this last lap, so we might see these guys slowly catching back up to Matt Goodgescott again. But hopefully Matt gets in a rhythm and tries to help, keep his position. As we're seeing another replay of someone, I think that was Sean King, just having a bit of a moment coming out of the last corner, but just behind this train of cars we've got Dane Oliver in the middle. They're all pretty much spaced out now, but that's pretty much where you want to be to get an amazing toe coming down into turn one. So we might even see Dane close up massively here. As the gap comes down against 4.2 seconds, so Michael Boulding took a lot of time out of Matt Goodgescott on that last lap. We see Dane closing up to the back of Michael. We might even try and have a look into turn two. Thinks better of it, and it's just lining him up for a move possibly. But he's now right back on him again as Dane gets a good run out of those final few corners. So they've got Chris Wilson behind them still. So Dane Oliver in Revolution racing car. As we still watch this, they've settled down a bit, this group of cars. So we'll see Andrew Fellows just behind them, about 8 seconds down in 5th place. Actually, he's been taking that from Colin TALBOT, who's now moved up into 5th. So Colin's on the comeback from his earlier expression off track.
Is indeed. But so now back onto the far section of the circuit. Dane is going to have the slipstream now. We've got other camera angles looking around the oval. We've got some static cams as well, which is what you're looking at now. So here's the view that we're going to have when they come round. So there's he's got all the time there in the world, and here's your second and third place. He's got that toe as they go around, yeah, very close together, and there's Chris Wilson there who's just flying down. Now Dane Oliver's pulled down to the outside again. He's going to try again around the outside. It didn't work last time, but it won't work this time as well. Yeah, but he did.
With a bit more space, but now Michael, Dane seems to get a much better exit off that corner coming into turn 2 than Michael does. So we'll try and see if that develops. See Andrew Fellows with Steve Usher behind him as Colin Talbot has just got into fifth position. And fifth is a very key position, as Ben's just pointed out, because that will allow you.
Well, it's the top 5 progress through to the A final. Yeah, so this is an incredibly important battle. If only you were watching the camera on the pit wall there, because you'll have seen Callum hitting himself in the head there, forgetting about how important 5th place is. But as you can see here, Colin's actually got a bit of a gap now, and now you've got Andrew Fellows and Steve Usher. As Steve Usher takes to the grass, that is not going to be well for him. And the race leader has spun, so we've just been told that Matt Goodgescott has spun out the circuit. Michael Boulding has now taken the lead, and so here's a replay of how Matt Goodgescott does it. Runs very wide, gets a rip.
What was that? Oh,
just too wide, and there you go. There goes Michael Boulding, Dane Oliver, and Chris Wilson. So all on his own as well. He had all the space there, and he just went a bit too wide there. So very unfortunate there. So now this is the battle for first place. This is an important one now. So Michael Boulding still currently leading, but Dane Oliver is all over the back of him, and Dane, as I say, is a Simply Race veteran. He's come here too much. No, he's come here not too much, no, but just enough. But yeah, no. So I would be very worried if I was Michael Boulding.
Yeah, because Dane Oliver is a he's also a very smart thinking driver.
He is, yes.
He's very good with the endurance stuff. He races with us in the SRES championships with the Supermotive Aston Martin.
Yep.
And he's definitely one to watch. He can show a very strange, just picks up his pace and goes absolutely gun for it.
Well, when he wants to, he will just go for it. Yeah.
So we might be seeing him hold back a tiny bit, just letting Michael Boulding kind of suss himself out in a way, and Dane just follow him until the pit stop phase, and then get him after that. But it's a real shame for Matt Goodgescott. After he was leading he had a 5-second lead. He's now 5 seconds behind the first place car. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for him. But Matt Goodgescott and Colin Talbot both still in the top 5, so both will progress into the A final.
Yeah, that's good for Cam Sports. So get both Cam Sports in that A final. So we're on board with Dane Oliver now. He is right on the back. He looks wide. We lose the camera. We get it back. And they are still the same.
Change there, but to see yellow in sector 2, that's just gone away. So
he's come back again.
So I'm guessing that might be one of the Walker family members just having.
So we've got a replay here.
I believe this is Andrew Fellows.
It could be Andrew Fellows or Steve Usher. I don't know. They've kind of picked the same livery car.
Steve Usher.
It is Steve Usher.
He's just had a bit of a spin coming out turn 1. That was quite clumsy. But he regains and only loses 1 position to his teammates, so that's not too bad at all. As we see, it's one of the Cam Sport cars. So is that Matt Goodgescott gone off again there and just nearly collected his teammates?
Oh dear me! So I think it was Matt Goodgescott. I think this is another replay here again. So he comes around the, I think it's the 4th corner now. Again, just runs wide on that Astro, puts the power down, and just ends up on the grass. So,
he's really.
And then had the audacity to come back on the circuit and almost take out his teammate. So.
Anyway, we're back with the leaders as Dane Oliver's now got a great run.
He's got a great run. He moves to the inside. He's not going to let Michael Boulding push him now. He's got the inside line. This is it. So Dane Oliver, he's almost off the circuit. Michael Boulding thinks better. He pulls out from it. Dane Oliver takes the lead, runs slightly wide, almost loses it under braking, but manages to hold on to that. So very well done. As Michael Boulding goes for a late dive down there into turn 3 and makes the move back. So straight back at him from Michael Boulding. Very well done as we lose the camera again and again, and he comes back. It's just us that's losing it. So apparently losing the feed. So that's all right. But
so we see Sean King and Steve USHER on the timing of vying for position, but we'll stay with this battle for the moment. It's just the leading battle. So Michael Boulding, a really strong overtakes.
It really is. And here's Dane. We're on the nose. He bluffs.
Up to Jack Walker, so they better get out of the way.
Oh, Jack Walker better get out of the way, and Dane's going to almost run into the back of him.
That's very close.
It looks like he's just got past. So there we go. So Jack Walker almost getting a little bit too involved with that battle for the lead there. But Dane Oliver. No, Dane Oliver's now in the perfect position now. He's got that slipstream. He's going to tuck right in behind now Michael Boulding. Again, Dane wants that inside line going into turn 1. If he gets pushed out onto the outside, he's just not going to make the move done.
So Dane's got a great run here. He's going to try and go to the inside, but no, he can't do it. He's switched to the outside. Michael Boulding covered off that inside line, so he couldn't do the same as what he did before and get back done on the inside. So Dane goes round the outside of Michael. We might see Michael pop up again.
I think Dane's made the move done from the outside.
So the man from Rugby has just sailed around the outside of Michael Boulding into first place, so that's going to be great. But Michael will definitely try and be on him again. I'm sure if we look back, we'll see him right on the end of that car. So yeah, that looks pretty good move there around the outside.
It was indeed, yeah.
Brave.
So yeah, very brave from Dane Oliver there. So fantastic move. Seems like he's almost got a gap out, but Michael Boulding slightly outbraking himself. So Donovan now with a slight gap. So we'll see how we go on now. Chris Wilson in the background there is actually falling behind at this rate now. I wonder how 5th place is doing. I wonder what the battle is like for 5th place to see how important that one is. As it looks like...
a big gap to everybody else. Matt Goodge-Scott is 1.7 behind Colin Talbot, who is now 4th place. So a pretty good recovery from Colin after his...
earlier spins, but I mean, how gutted for Matt Goodger-Scott, eh?
Yeah,
2 spins, all by himself as well.
He's not going to be proud of that when he watches this back later on, probably this evening. But
I wouldn't watch it back. I think I'd forget about it.
Andrew Fellows in 8th place, the Fiesta driver from the. I'm not sure what series it's from. I think it might be 750 Motor Club, but I could be wrong. But so Andrew.
Well, I'm glad you know because I don't.
Definitely Dane Oliver as well. It's still out in front at the moment, half a second clear of Michael Boulding, so that front gap has settled down a bit. But still, Michael's putting the pressure on a bit. So last lap time 119.6. So still way. If that was in qualifying, these guys would be way far.
Yeah.
Shows how much battling actually costs you in.
Definitely is. And now Michael Boulding, who you can see now on board the podcam, as I like to call it. So you're seeing it now, but. So they're going through now into the penultimate corner, as you call it. So now Michael Boulding's going to have the slipstream, but he slightly outbrakes himself there. But he's still in that slipstream. So here we go now. You're going to see Michael Boulding on board and from the outside now. And you can just see how much toe he's got there. So he's only got 2 of the hours. He's got 3. He's got 4 now. So he's pulling ever closer. And as you can see now on the banking.
Definitely helps out with more.
Now is he going to cut to the inside or is Dane going to do it? There's a yellow in sector 1, but it's just cleared, so these guys will be all right. So
side by side across the line.
Oh, that was very close, wasn't it?
We see Michael trying to move around the outside. Dane covers him off. Really well done by Dane.
And moves over in the braking zone. So that was risky.
It's a bit risky there, especially with Michael's.
Michael looking for that.
Definitely just sending it more into the corners.
Yeah.
Dane is.
Yeah.
It's, I think Dane's a more smoother driver as he looks at the moment. But
I would go in that.
Definitely piling the pressure on Dane. We see Chris Wilson's dropped way back. He's dropped nearly 6 seconds to this leading pair. So I was expecting.
Well, I'd say he's just not getting the slipstream, is he?
No,
he's just not getting the slipstream. These guys may be battling for position.
I think Ben has a point. No, he doesn't. Never mind. But yeah, we're still working on this battle with Michael Boulding and Dane Oliver. So there's a yellow in sector 2 that's just gone away again. So I think someone had a bit of an excursion there. See Chris Wilson still in 3rd place with Colin Talbot in 4th. So recovering after that spin earlier on. Matt Goodge-Scott after leading in the early stages.
He's only 4 tenths off Colin Talbot actually. So the 2 Cam Sport guys are going to be very close now.
So I think Colin might just let Matt by.
There we go.
Yeah, he'll definitely get a toe off this one. So these 2 identical cars with different numbers. Colin's in the one slightly ahead.
Well, you see
Matt.
it there. It says their name on the side of the car, so you can see. You can
well,
see there. So
you can
see.
About see it.
You can
see it. Okay. So as
here we go.
Here Colin in the background
shouting
Matt to let him by. So that's one of the features that we get in the Simply Res facility you don't get in anywhere else. So see Sean King just in the distance behind these two cars, but Colin didn't actually Matt through there, so there might be a bit of inter-team rivalry here. So we see there's a yellow in sector 1, so I don't know if that was with our race leaders. I'm hoping not. As you see, Dane Oliver's still
it's still in the lead,
still
but there's
ahead.
only 3 tenths between them now, so
yeah, that's just as almost as close to this battle that we're seeing at the moment. There's only 1 tenth between Colin and Matt. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the leading pack as we still keep with these two drivers, the Cam Sport guys, both racing the SRES. So they come up against either it's Jack Walker or John Walker. I think it might be, yeah, it must be Jack Walker at the moment, who's just dawdling around at the back of the pack. Still, it's good to see a rookie come into the series and race with these guys here at Simply Race who have done a bit more experience, but he gets out of the way of the two cars.
almost gets out of the way.
Very, very close, but he did let them both by, so see a good improvement from Jack Walker there after the first contacts. We see this battle for the lead now, so Michael Boulding going
He's got the inside.
flat banking on the inside.
Oh, that's close.
The white lines define the track, but luckily there's a bit more concrete further on from that, but Dane goes round the outside, but Michael Boulding goes into first position. And,
it's questionable,
but
because
Dane's going to go back up the inside into turn 2, so there's some great racing here we're seeing as Michael goes all the way around the outside of him to take that position. So it's a great move there from both drivers, each chopping away at each other and just
They are
both
indeed.
building momentum off each other. But
They are,
yeah, some
and-
great racing there.
And it looks like actually the gap from these two to Chris Wilson is actually coming down. So it was 6 seconds, or over 6 seconds, about nearly 7 seconds. It's now down to 5.9.
7.4, so they're actually increasing that gap, the gap to
So the
Chris
gap.
Wilson from Colin Talbot is actually just gone out to 6 seconds. So I think we're getting a bit confused on the timings there. We see another
I don't think
yellow
that
in
was.
sector 1, possibly, I don't know. Anyway, we'll carry on.
We'll try and
So-
work out the timing a little
We
bit
will,
later on.
yeah.
But
there was a yellow in sector 1 a minute ago, and there's a
He's
yellow
come
in sector
back.
1 again. So we'll see if has there been a change of position here. We might have seen that as these two cars both the same, it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, so that's Matt Goodschott going past Colin Talbot into 4th place. So Matt
There you
recovering
go.
from his earlier spin and just using the toe and get. Actually, no, Colin's still in 4th place. So that was Colin making a move on Matt, it seems.
I don't know, they've got the same car.
Again,
This-
too much going on. We need more cameras. As we see Michael Boulding just holding on to that first place from Dane Oliver in second, but they're both just using each other, building the toe. So they build that gap up to 8.4 now over Chris Wilson. So Chris isn't having that great a time at the moment. He's actually, I think he might be getting caught by Matt Goodschott. As long as Matt can keep it on the road, we might see Matt jump back into a podium position here.
And you have to remember, these guys are going to be coming in for pit stop soon.
Yeah, very soon.
You got to think about that. I mean, these tyres are going to be
They've only
nearly
got 20
done.
minutes left, so these guys, they want to be thinking about pitting soon. Obviously, you want to try and use up as much fuel as possible, and then you got to work out your fuel strategy to see how much fuel you need. We could end up seeing some cars running out of fuel at the end of the race. You really don't want that to happen.
You do
You'd
have to
rather,
time it properly,
you know,
yeah.
the more fuel you put in, the longer it's going to take. So you want to really limit it to say you only want really one
As
more lap
many
of
laps
fuel.
is what you're going to do, yeah. But if you end up spinning a couple of times, you know, you're going to use more fuel than you need, and
Absolutely,
you
but
know, it's just going
The less fuel, the lighter the car is, and also the less time you spent in the pit. So
Yep.
that's going to be crucial when we see these cars starting to pit. So I wonder if
Exactly.
we'll start seeing some pit stops. I don't think we've seen any so far from anybody on track. As you see that nice
Here
static
comes
shot.
Dane.
From the pole. And
He's
Dane
back on the inside.
Yeah, so Dane just said his best lap of the race so far as well, 1:18.6, as he goes past Michael Boulding to take the lead. And these two seems to be working with each other now to try
Yes,
and
yeah. Well,
build
they've got to
that
remember they're
9.3
both.
seconds now. Chris Wilson, we see another yellow in sector 1.
Well, you see, they're both through to the A final anyway. If they stay in this position, we got both walkers now. It's a very slow one. Gets out the way of both the drivers. That's good to see. Hopefully, he doesn't outbrake himself though. But now they've got another walker to contend with. Now, and he does outbrake himself. Walker's hits the back
Hits back
of
of Dane
Michael
Oliver.
Boulding,
Oh, no.
and Michael Boulding has spun.
No, so that's really ruined this battle for the lead. He seems to recover quite
That's-
well and only loses, maybe. Well, I say only. It's
I tell you
crucial,
what,
but-
commentators curse. I said it, and it happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
We
going to
just
keep
saw
my
that
mouth
out
quiet now.
twice. We got the onboard from Dane, but I think that was Jack Walker. My apologies, just clipping the back of Michael Boulding.
So this is a replay of how the overtakes have happened and into the back. So here we go. So Dane managed to get the lead going into turn 1. You can see Michael Boulding gets a little bit loose under the braking.
as we'll see the full screen of the camera angle now. So this is these two are just fighting away. So not much happens here really. They're just making their way.
They're battling through now.
Both walking
it's
cars.
these two here. It's that slow one that you can see there that these two drivers are now passing.
Spin.
Yeah, just recovered from a spin. And I said at this point, I hope he doesn't outbrake himself. And of course, at that moment, you can see it there.
Yeah.
He just outbrakes himself, and round goes Michael Boulding. Yeah, so really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, that was. As we go back to live now, and we will in 1 second just get rid of that. So there we go. So you can see the gap now is 3 seconds. So he's lost a
considerable amount of time. As we see Steve Usher in the pit. So we have our first driver in the pit. That's Steve Usher, who's currently in 8th place. He's got a fair bit of time there of a gap to get back out in 8th place. So hopefully he should stay in that. But gaps all around a second now. So
everybody's pretty spread out now. The biggest gap we've got, well, the smallest gap we've got, in fact, is Colin Talbot to Matt Goodschott holding a 1.4. So it's going to be interesting to see. Are both teammates, have they scheduled it to pit at the same time? As we see Matt Goodschott now in 4th place.
I'll have to see.
Going around the outside of, I think that might be John Walker.
It looks like another Walker driver there. So
saying that, actually, no, it must be Jack Walker, as John's still on the leading lap. So.
And it's very close, actually.
There's a yellow in the middle sector, so someone's gone off there as well. We're having a lot of yellows at the moment.
There's another car's coming in. It looks like Chris Wilson.
So Chris Wilson's going into the pits now.
And that puts him down into that vulnerable 5th position. That is the last available spot for the win. And that looks like Steve Usher that's coming out of the pits now. And that is in front of 3rd place, Matt Goodschott. So hopefully he should get out of the way. But remember, he's on fresh tyres. He's probably got a full tank of fuel.
Well, is he on fresh tyres?
Well, you don't know, actually.
Changed, I think, because I don't think these tyres degrade enough to actually change during the 45 minutes.
Maybe, yeah. So it probably is.
Are these on S7s?
Oh, it's a different tyre compound to what there is to the endurance series. Okay. Yeah. So
see, that's Colin Talbot.
Colin Talbot in the background there.
Oh no!
And Matt Goodschott got spun again.
And then we see Jack Walker spinning out all on his own in the background and nearly collecting one of the.
Matt Goodschott,
one of the DM racing cars.
I would want to change his tyres.
Wow. Yeah, nearly collected Sean King there in the background, but got away with it. But that was a really late dive from Colin. And then you see Matt just going off. Colin will be thinking, Matt, what are you doing? As it goes through, so Colin's now up into 3rd place. This is great from Colin after his first few laps.
Just noticing,
we see Michael Boulding now in the pits.
Chris Wilson is still in the pits. So did he go for tyres as well? As Michael Boulding comes in now, so drivers are starting to pit. I want to see if Michael Boulding goes for tyres. I just want to see if that car gets jacked up at the front, just to see if it changes tyres.
No,
doesn't at the moment. No, so it looks like it's just taking fuel. So Michael Boulding down now into 5th place, and it's 29 seconds to Andrew Fellows currently. So that should take him out right in front of him, I think. So
I think so. But also, what we've got to remind ourselves here is also you can get a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The one thing you really don't want to do coming off that fast banking is go too fast in the pits, hit the limiter and not being able to slow down in time, so you'll end up with another penalty.
These cars don't actually have a pit lane limiter, so the drivers have to slow down and hold it by themselves. These cars do not have a limiter.
Wow, okay, I didn't know that. So that's going to be even more tricky.
That's even more
That's going to be a very interesting dynamic to this race. I'm sure we'll have some people therefore getting penalties for exceeding speed in the pit lane. Obviously it's at the race director's discretion, as we see the race director right here next to us, but yeah, we'll see. Obviously, Ben, there must be limitations on the pit lane speed limit, and are you going to be lenient with it, or are you going to be really harsh?
Really harsh, to be honest. There is an inbuilt leniency to a certain extent, but it's up to the drivers really to ensure they stay below 50.
And that looks like Colin Talbot's coming to the pit lane. So Colin Talbot pits from 3rd place, giving 2nd place to Matt Goodschott. So it's Dane Oliver's also in the pit. So our race leader has pitted.
Now Matt Goodgescott's back in the lead so far.
We'll have to see where Michael Boulding comes out in this one, because he's got a clear track in front of him now. So here he is. He's on the oval. I reckon Michael Boulding's going to go back up into 2nd place, but then he's going to go into 1st, because Matt Goodgescott, of course, hasn't pitted yet either.
Yeah,
so
but I still think Dane will get out ahead of Michael.
Well, this is what we have to see.
Dane's actually still in the pits, so I think Michael's just going to breeze past me. Yeah, surely he's already past him.
So there you go.
So
Michael Boulding's got the jump on Dane.
So what's Dane doing? I don't know. unless he's put too much fuel in. He's put the whole.
He's put the
90
whole
litres
tank in.
But
I don't
know
think
how
it's-
much litres in it is. It might be about 50 or so, I imagine. But
So there's Colin.
and
There's
Sean King as well.
Sean King going. I don't know what Dane's doing.
What's happened to Dane Oliver? So he's
Did Dane take tyres?
no, surely not.
There he goes. So he's pulled away now. That was
So Dane's basically thrown away this lead completely. He's given it back to Michael Boulding. Or he didn't request the pit stop, meaning the virtual pit crew weren't ready for him.
yeah. So
I'm gonna try and find out, actually. I'll be back in a minute.
yeah, go find out. Go find out. He took full fuel. Okay. Hi, Callum. So you disappeared to find out what went wrong,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
turns
someone
out-
came, and then
It turns out that he didn't take full. He took full fuel.
full tank of fuel. So big mistake there from Dane Oliver,
Thrown
and
it away
that is now.
after us praising him earlier for being a strategic driver.
Yeah, that has put him down
He's thrown it
into
all
fifth
away.
race. So
he's
in
gonna
a
be kicking himself for that.
Yeah, he's in a vulnerable position now. He's obviously still in a position to progress through, and with 12 minutes left of the race,
No way he's going to get it back now.
I know,
The gap
so-
is. So the gap to the actual leaders, we've seen Matt Goodge got in the pit now, so it's going to hand the lead back to Michael Boulding. With Colin Talbot, Colin's going to be in second place.
I know. How about this for a recovery drive? I mean,
Yeah.
the same with Matt Goodge, Scott. I mean, we've seen him spin 3 times all by himself, and he's
And that
in
mistake
second
from
place.
Dane after being so consistent and smooth earlier on in the race, because
Exactly.
he's just completely thrown it all away. So Michael Boulding only took 10 litres of fuel, so we'll actually see if Michael
Is he
Boulding
gonna
can
actually make
get
it?
to the end of this race. I can't see that happening at all.
I don't know. How many does 10
Well,
litres give you?
Exactly.
I mean, there's only 11 minutes left, so
we have to be
how many
quite,
laps is that? I'm not good
well,
at maths.
We're gonna have to have a look.
I tell
and
you
see.
what, let me work it out, and then
Or we can just go and check on his pod.
We could go check on his pod. Go check. Okay. Callum's going to go check to see how much fuel he has got left. With 11 minutes left to go, Callum's going to try and work it out. As you see him waddle over there to his pod in the camera. So here we go now, full screen now, looking at Michael Boulding, all on his own in first place. Obviously, he's not got a slipstream. Here's Sean King in fourth place, and he's got the 2 Cam Sport cars right in front of him now. Now, Matt Goodgescott has pitted. He's come back out in second place. So this is the battle for second place. Callum, you have returned. What news can you tell me? Or tell us?
He's got 9 litres of fuel left, so he might have taken a bit more than 10 litres, such. But
Or he had some already in
obviously
there.
He had some already in there. That's very true. But
So here's Colin. He's got a great toe on the
backed
banking,
off.
but he has backed off yet.
I think these two are just gonna.
He's coming back in
Are
now.
we going to see Colin make a move? Yeah, we are. So okay, this is a bit of an inter-team battle now with the Cam Sport guys.
So this-
they come across the line side by side, only 3,000ths of a second in it. And Colin moves up in second place. So good on Colin after that bad start. He's really recovered now.
Absolutely
he might be
fantastic.
thinking, "Oh, Matt's spinning too many times. I've just got to get up and get a good position for himself." But second place for Colin Talbot, he'll be really happy with that when he comes out. But yeah, so it's really interesting to see now. We could actually be looking at the lead battle because Michael Boulding could actually run out of fuel by the end of this
exactly.
race.
Yeah, exactly. So after a dismal start with Colin and Matt both spinning and having accidents and coming back, and now they're second and third and potentially even first. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what Michael could do now is absolutely bomb it for the last few laps. Get a really, 25-second gap possibly.
well, it's
for
about
these
how
two
long's the
guys.
pit stop? He's got a 20-second gap at the moment. How long does it take to
Oh,
add just a couple of litres of fuel?
Yeah, we see Sean King's joined this battle for second and third now as well. He went really deep going into that last corner before onto the straight, so he might even lose the toe of these two guys, but he could really upset this inter-team battle here. So Sean King has kind of been a bit quiet in this race, been hanging back a bit, but he could actually see himself challenging for a podium position or more
could.
at the end of this race. So yeah, we'll see. We got to keep an eye on Michael Boulding's fuel. Obviously, I'll go back and check in a 5 minutes time or so just to see how it is. But it was 11 minutes left. And he had 9 litres left. So
Yeah.
if it's a litre a minute, or as we see them two getting very.
I don't know
close
why they
together.
did that. That was a
Yeah,
bit
they're just
confusing.
backing- they're
They're
backing each
just
other up now.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, if we see that Michael Boulding's only got 9 litres left, and he had 11 minutes left.
Yeah.
Surely, if it's a litre a lap, a litre a minute, which we were expecting it would be, you see an Ombra with Matt Goodgescott now. You can see how tall he is in this. I remember when
He's much taller
I
than
did
you,
a race
isn't
with,
he? Oh, he's much
with
taller
Matt
than you.
at Spa last year as an endurance race, and literally moving the seat all the way forwards, then all the way back.
Okay.
We were actually called David and Goliath. as a team.
I remember that.
That was a cracking race as well.
It was.
We'll see another one of them later on in the year for the 6 Alphas of Spa coming up next for the SRES Championship.
Chance of it raining in that race?
I think it's director's discretion, but I think probably quite high.
Yeah.
But we'll see Race Attrition coming back and fighting again against 130 Racing after not having a great Imola round where there was just me doing it. But anyway, back to this race. She's kind of calmed down a bit now, but we'll have to see because Michael Boulding's still pulling gap. He's pulled out 1.5 more seconds over the original 20-second gap that he had over these two cars. Well, these three cars, in fact, with Sean King just lurking in the background. We got a yellow in sector 1. I'm going a bit colourblind today. But Michael Boulding, I think he's just extended that lead a tiny bit more. But yeah,
21.5
so these guys
now,
are lapping around about the 1:20 mark, plus or minus half a second or so.
See how
But,
smooth.
no, we've got one of the Walker cars. No,
Don't pull out in front of him! Oh, what
Sean
was
King.
that?
Great avoidance from Sean King. Wow,
I mean,
but you can see that coming, couldn't you?
oh,
Oh dear.
I don't know what that
was,
was, but that was.
Yeah, that was really, really close. Good avoidance from Sean King there.
I'd say incredible avoidance. Oh, and Sean King get loose at the back end, and now
really upset his rhythm and ended up really, just now look at the gap that the two Cam Sport cars have filled. So there's probably 4 seconds there.
that has now
But,
pretty
he's
much
really
put
lost it.
Sean King there. Dane Oliver now is only 5 seconds behind him instead of what was it before? About 12, 14 seconds behind. So Dane's gained a lot of time there.
So Dane, we expect Dane to be closing up on the back of Sean within we've got 6 minutes left and there's 6 seconds between them, so we might be able to see Dane coming back into this right at the end and snatching 4th place away. He's still in a position to go into the A final, but he'll be right at the back of that pack.
Starting to wonder how much fuel that Michael Boulding's got left already.
Yeah, we'll give it another minute or so and we'll go check just to make sure. But Matt Goodschott brought that gap down last time, took 1.5 seconds out of Michael Boulding, so Michael Boulding might be trying to manage his fuel now, possibly,
Maybe.
just to get him to the end of this race. But it's going to be very interesting now. This is
there's a yellow in sector 2 and it disappears quickly.
So we're on board with Michael Boulding now. His last lap time was a 1:20.6. That's 2 seconds off his best lap time of the race.
Have we got a pod camera of Michael Boulding? Because I'd just like to see if I
not
can.
at the moment, I
not
don't
at the
think.
moment.
But we see this. I believe this is a replay of possibly Sean King, or I think
No, this is either Andrew Fellows.
My apologies, just going off there at turn 1, but rejoins and gets on his way again. So no real big incident there. Just will be dirtying his tyres, but he'll be going back on again to see. We'll try and get rid of that replay now, as we go back to the leader. And Michael again putting in a 1:19.4, slightly quicker, but still Matt Goodschott is bringing that time. It's bringing that gap down.
It is, isn't it? It's
So,
now down to 19.8.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I'm
so
going to go check on Michael Boulding's fuel to see if he can
what
get
he's
to the end of
doing.
this race.
See what he's doing. So as Callum shuffles off again, as you saw him on the camera there. I'm not going to question it, but so here we go. Yeah, still looking at Matt, and Callum's already coming back with a confused look on his face. So let's see the news.
Right, so he's got 5 litres left, and there's 5 minutes left. So I think he'll make it.
Fine.
I think he's timed it to absolute perfection, really, with the amount of fuel that's.
Well, as I say,
put it
he
in,
has
but
been practicing.
It's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, he's started. Do you reckon he's going to run out of fuel across the line?
I think he'll have a bit in spare as well. I mean, he's got 20 seconds, so he doesn't really need to be pushing this hard.
Yeah, no,
he can
exactly.
literally lay off 4 seconds a lap, if not, and still just about get to the end. Obviously, he won't do that. He'll try and push as hard as he can. But
anyone would.
the last 2 laps, when he sees that, because they have a timer in the pod saying we'll have 5 minutes left, 1 minute left. As soon as he sees that 1 minute left, he can pretty much.
He'll gun it.
Almost. Well,
I would
see how much fuel he's got.
Oh well, yeah, maybe.
If need to, he can even coast to the finish. But as you see, the gap's spread out now between Matt Goodschott and Colin Talbot. We need to watch Matt doesn't spin out again, otherwise Colin will take that place back. As we see Sean King after that excursion from Jack Walker, who's now back in the pits. I think he's coming for another stop possibly. But John Walker seems to be quite impressive. Only a minute off the leader after 40 minutes of racing. That's not too bad at all.
It's not bad.
It's great to see John, keeping up with the pace of these other guys. No, that's 1 minute off Andrew Fellows. So
Yes, so
my
he's-
apologies. So he's a tiny bit further back, but still.
But he's still on the
Not too
he's
bad.
still on the lead lap.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
important thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, one person who I want to talk about, very unfortunately, is Chris Wilson. Obviously, you saw him at the beginning. He was battling there for the lead, everything like that. And the pit stops came. He pitted quite early. I think he was the first person to pit, or I think it was Steve Usher. But you know, commiserations. You know,
So
moving
he
him down
must
to
have put in
sixth.
full
So.
fuel as well then. just
He
like Dane,
must have,
because
yeah. So
I was expecting him to be a lot higher up than that, but especially Dane, that's really unfortunate for him. He's still 4 seconds off Sean King, so I can't see him clawing that back in the last 3 minutes
is
he's got this race.
indeed.
Matt went a bit wide there. He didn't do that. He did
He's
that
pushing
before.
it, isn't he?
He did that before and ended up
Think
getting
about
off the
it.
grass.
That gap's down to 15.7
Yeah, so
seconds.
that- He's gained.
now,
So
so-
Michael Balding might have had an excursion off track. So that we've lost 4 seconds from that group. So it's going to be interesting now. So we see the last lap time from Michael Balding was half a second. It was 1:19.4. So
It was still a-
so it must have been the lap just before, as he's just gone through again. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate we didn't see the lap time from that. But
Just
Matt
missed it.
Goodschott taking another 10th and a half out of him on that last lap, but that is not enough. But however, he's in the second sector and there's a yellow just appeared there, so it might be most probably Jack Walker. Yes, it is.
Yes, it was,
just coming into shot there. 7 laps behind the leader as he comes up now. Hopefully, get out of the way. Well, he does get out of the way, but on the grass. And so that was
Conveniently.
That was very, very lucky for Michael Balding not to get collected from Jack Walker. Obviously, it's great to see Jack into the championship now. He will get better throughout the season, I'm sure of it. As you see, this is a battle for 6th position actually, with Steve Usher on the back of Chris Wilson, and half a second taken out of Chris on that last lap from Steve. So this is going to be quite an interesting battle to watch.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, Chris Wilson, obviously more experienced with racing up at the top there, as you saw there with the other drivers. As Steve Usher gets loose at the back there, actually loses quite a bit of time there. He's going to lose the slipstream now, so that is, I think that's pretty much settled that actually as we start talking about it. So I think that Steve Usher is probably going to stay now in 7th place. As again, he outbrakes himself, runs very wide onto the asphalt, onto the grass. Very.
He's lost all that time now.
Yeah,
So all that time he gained up in that last lap, taking half a second out of Chris, is now just wasted away again. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he can close back at the end of this race. We've only got 1 minute left, so Michael Balding, I think, is going to be absolutely fine on fuel. And see
That's
Steve
lucky,
going
that
a
is.
tiny bit wide, but no, he's
when I heard he put 10 litres in, I was
I know, I
there.
thought that's madness, but then again, the amount that the car started with, I'm not sure what they started with. It was 20.5 litres of fuel. So you can do this whole race on 30 litres of fuel.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it's a 45-minute race, so that's, really
He did
quite
time
impressive,
it,
actually.
timed it to perfection on that.
If you see a yellow in sector 2 again, I wonder who that is, maybe. But we'll keep going through as we see Matt Goodschott taking another 3/10 out of Michael Balding, but nothing to worry about at the moment. We've got less than a minute left of this race. We'll try and tag on to Michael Balding now, because he might be almost... we might get another lap out of this, actually.
I reckon he
I
will.
reckon
Yeah,
he
he's
will.
going to cross the line now to start his final lap. So
With pretty much be about 10 seconds left, so we'll get another lap in from this race as we cross the line 15 seconds before the flag would have dropped, but now everybody gets another lap, and there's no real battles going on apart from that 6th position from Chris Wilson and Steve Usher, but we're just going to ride on board with Michael Balding for the meantime and just have a watch for him through this last lap. We have a right hander in first gear, and we're hearing that Michael Balding's absolutely fine. Great job there to strategically get ahead in this race. Obviously, we were expecting to see Dane Oliver and Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson's not actually going to make it into the A final at this race.
No.
After being so strong earlier on.
it's a massive shame. And obviously, I think Dane's very lucky from his pit stop. He's only got down to 5th place, and he's only 5 seconds off from 4th place as well. So, but he was battling for the lead, and just that slight mistake of concentration, forgetting to change that fuel level, and it's put him down to 5th place. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
but you don't want to see that in the final. But here we go, Michael Balding now. He's on the oval. The only thing he could do wrong here is clip the apron, but he shouldn't do that.
Yeah, he's coming through 136 miles an hour as he just comes through the bowl now. So the next race is going to be very interesting with the 130 Racing. The whole squad in that, the whole 4 of them. As Michael Balding comes across the line, fantastic win.
Here he goes.
And,
He's
he's
very
happy.
happy. That actually made me jump.
Yeah, give me a heart attack there. It's very Lewis Manley like as he comes
It
across the line.
was,
We've seen
so,
Matt Goodschott coming around in 2nd place about 16 seconds behind. A good race from him after spinning earlier on.
Three times,
he could have won that race really, but still he
very
makes
good.
it through.
And Colin Talbot there, very close behind.
Well done from Colin. He did a great job there, very stable.
Sean King
finishes in 4th.
and then Dane Oliver will be coming across the line very shortly.
And Dane Oliver, really, he could have won that. He really could have won that, but Dane obviously made a mistake in the pits, put all the fuel that the car could allow in, and that cost him so much time. That must have cost him about 30 seconds or so in the pits. So yeah, massive, turn of events for him. But Chris Wilson just missing out on getting into the A final, with Steve Usher in 7th, Andrew Fellows in 8th place, and then the 2 walkers. A family effort from John, just coming out in 9th and 10th. So we'll be back very shortly with the A final. And we're going to see some great racing from the 130 Racing guys. The whole squad, all 4 of them, will be up the top of that field. And we expect them to be working together, if not. As you can see, Chris Hardwick and Darren Kirk just speaking to the director, Ben Turner. And it's going to be very, very interesting. But Michael Boulding, very happy with that. Hello and welcome back to the United States Sprint Cup Series here at Simply Race, and we're getting ready for our shootout session for the A group. So these are the fastest drivers from the practice session earlier on in the evening, and these guys will be on their own, going as fast as possible. We're always on board with Josh Banwell at the moment, and he's looking to this as much as possible. Apologies there, just a change of the mic. Is still on board with Banwell, so he's in the bright yellow car. We're not going to miss him out on track later on when we start this race, but he's really warming them tyres up, throwing the car about quite a bit. He's got 20 litres in that car, you can see on the right hand side. He's an independent runner in this championship. He's also talking to someone behind his left shoulder, but you get a good view of his face. So yeah, he's Josh Banwell's really... He's done quite a bit of racing here. He's also raced in the Mini 7 Championship last year, I believe, and the year before that. Even so, with Kieran McDonald as one of the other drivers in that championship, who's a regular here at Simply Race. Both really nice guys. Josh, we've found a tiny bit maybe banditry from Josh at times, but he's recently been getting better and definitely racing. He's done some of the SRES Championship as well, and he's done really well there. So if you're right on board with Mark Winwood now, who's one of the veterans of Simply Race, and he's going to be really one to watch. As he goes onto his lap now into fifth gear, 143 miles an hour, he's up and down second gear, taking a lot of curb onto the track. It's a very karting-esque middle part of the circuit here. It's a lot like a go-kart. You can really down as he goes into that second corner. Gets a wash of understeer as it lays on the power to come out, shifting up through the gears up to fourth gear probably. See Nathan Burton now on his independent lap. And again, as last time, we'll see all these lap times start to come through randomly on the left-hand side of your screen. But for now, we see Nathan Burton getting a tad wide coming out of that exit there, but I don't think that would have cost him too much. And Dave Robertson coming through the same bit now. Dave Robertson, he's going to be the guy to watch. He was fastest in practice out of everybody for I think it was about 3/10 or so. So David's really on fire tonight, it seems, and he's definitely going to be one running at the front runners as long as he gets a good lap here and he doesn't screw it up. So who else to look out for during this? Dan Ryan, he's one that I definitely keep an eye on, along with Will Murphy. Will's has his times where he can, I don't know if it's a lapse in concentration or just bad luck. I think it's more bad luck, if anything. But I think Will's going to be the first one to come around and set a time. So we'll have a look what time he does go to the top. Oh no, Mark Winwood just beats him to it. But Mark Winwood then just ahead of Steve Boyce and Will Murphy. But Josh Banwell smashes that with a 1:18.8, so that's a pretty quick time. We haven't seen David Robertson come through yet, and Michael Boulding as well from the last race. He's going to come through. He knows the circuit now and he knows what it's like. So Darren's made a terrible mistake, 2 seconds off the pole time. So it's still Josh Banwell on the pole at the moment. It's David Robertson. David Robertson's 12th. David Robertson 8/10 away. So everybody's pretty close here. The top 13 covered by 1 second, but David Robertson, after showing such promise in practice, is 12th place on the grid. That is he's behind Michael Boulding, the winner from the last race. So as we see the last driver to come through, David Hedges, I don't think David's going to be particularly up anyway, especially we see there we go, so he comes through, he just beats Darren, so Darren's actually 15th and last coming into this A final. So we've got Josh Banwell on the pole from Chris Hardwick. It's a good effort from him. Mark Winwood, but it's very, very close. The top 13 cars all covered by under a second, so it's going to be a mega race. I can't wait for this one to unfold. Ben Turner's even got his head in his hands just watching this play. This is going to be that was an awesome shootout. Darren got a wheel on the grass, it seems, and he's completely messed it up. So he's running back to his pod now as we get ready for the start of this race. But that was an absolutely amazing qualifying session there. See Josh Banwell stretching it out onto the pole position. So with Chris Hardwick will line up alongside him with Mark Winwood in third place. Sean King, a really impressive run from him in fourth place. Sean obviously was in the last race and just missed getting onto the podium. We got Steve Boyce in fifth, a good run from him. Dan Ryan and Will Murphy 6th and 7th. Matt Goodge got in 8 after his spins from the last race, costing him almost the win pretty much. And Nathan Burton in 9th. Dane Oliver complete the top 10 after Dane was actually leading the last race as well until his pit stop Mallet. And then we got Michael Boulding, the winner from the B final. Well, my apologies, the B heat from earlier on. David Robertson, who we're expecting to be on pole, is now actually behind. He's not even in the top 10. He's absolutely nowhere. So this is going to be a really interesting battle to see if David can get up there and potentially win this race, because he was 3/10 up from anybody in practice. Fastest lap of the weekend so far. So that's going to be really interesting. Colin Talbot in 13th. I'm sure he's going to look to be making places going forward. Dave Hedges in 14th. Darren Kirk in 15th. Me and Bennick. Obviously, we don't laugh at any competitors, but Darren really should be properly up there, as Darren's a real regular here at Simply Race. So we're going to take the mick out of him as much as possible. So he's more than a regular. He's down here pretty much all the time. So he should know this place like the back of his hand. And he's really let us down, I think. Let us down is the word. And let his team down, 130 Racing. They're expecting all their cars to be up there, and they're not even on pole. So this is going to be a really interesting battle, actually. We've got two 130 Racing cars in second and third place with Chris Hardwick and Mark Winwood. And then in 12th place with David Robertson and Darren Kirk 15th. I was expecting those two drivers to be switched around, so it's going to be very interesting. We're just going to... before we get too excited, we're just going to do the warm-up lap as Anthony John jumps back over to the pit wall, and it's going to be very interesting. Ben, what's your reckoning on this race?
I have no idea what's going to happen. I think we've got so many amazing drivers in this race, and having them so closely qualified together. I think the only reason the other two weren't under a second is because they made small mistakes on that single lap qualifying. So I just pray that we have a nice, neat start through a tricky first couple of corners, and see where we go from there.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And we're just tracking Nathan Burton at the moment in 9th place. So good start from him. He's still ahead of Dane Oliver, who was leading in the last race. We see a bit of a glitch. Don't worry about that. It's not Josh Banwell or Chris Hardwick running off there. They're all pretty good. So Josh is actually Josh will be on the inside for the first corner, but a really good lap from him, putting him on the pole. So Josh knows what to do. He's a real racer in the Mini 7 Championship. So again, don't worry, that's just a slight glitch there you see on your screen. But Dave Robertson, we're expecting him to be a lot further up than what he was. To be 12th, obviously made a mistake on that quali lap. It's going to be very interesting to see. Hopefully, I imagine that the start, the B start was incredibly clean. I'm expecting this one to be exactly the same as well.
Also clean, yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll see how it goes. The person I want to keep an eye on is Darren Kirk. You've probably already spoken about him qualifying 15th.
Yeah,
we were 9 off. He must have spun.
Oh yeah, he clipped the grass, and that's why he went off. Obviously, you don't. If you clip the grass in a GT car, for instance, you go straight off in these. You can actually recover from.
Yeah.
These recover well from a spin, it seems.
Yeah.
You pretty much, if you're spinning, you're pretty much always in first gear anyway. As we see, the actual safety car on the driver's screen is a Clio Cup car with it. I've never actually seen that, but on our stream it's a Corvette. So that's a nice mixture there that you don't get. So we got two safety cars, each playing the same role. So on the stream we should have in a second, we'll have the static camera showing from the first corner, so we'll see everybody come through there. But this is going to be very interesting from Josh Banwell's perspective, to see if we can get a good run. We'll see if we can go to the actual body camera now. There we go. So we're going to see green pretty early on, but Josh Banwell gets a great start and moves ahead of coming into turn.
There's some purple helmets in the background there. He's gonna
just gets away with it. Dane Oliver at the back, but I think everything's fine. So Josh Hardwick muddling in the back. Oh, there's two cars just collecting themselves. I think that's Dan Ryan and possibly Steve Boyce just getting in the muddle there. Yes, it was. So Nathan Burton's made up a few places from that. He's now to 7th place, as we see Will Murphy just ahead of him in the purple helmets car. And everybody seems to be quite smooth for his first few laps. Two Cam Sport cars fighting away in 10th and 12th places. Steve Boyce on board, so Colin actually picks off play there from Steve. As you see, short in 10th, to a bit of a gap to the top 5. They seem to broke away a tiny bit, with Will Murphy making a massive lunge on Dane Oliver. Dane giving him the space and going out wide. There's a bit of contact further back. There's a few apologies going on behind us, but everybody seems to get away okay.
Giving positions back.
Yeah, as you see, Dave Hedges, I think, fallen down a tiny bit. So is Colin Talbot in that one. Steve Boyce rounding out, but Darren Kirk's made a great start from 15th on the grid. He's now 9th. So He's picking up some places already. But Chris Hardwick and Mark Winwood will be looking to make a charge, and actually Chris Hardwick's taking the lead on Josh Banwell's. We'll try and skip to the leaders now.
Well, we're going to see turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see turn 1 with a static camera. And the live feed slightly ahead of the static, but you can see Chris Hardwick.
There's a car off wide and it's gone. It looks like the U Barracuda car of Nathan Burton.
No, it's Dane Oliver.
It was Dane Oliver, so
that came about, but unfortunately glitched out, so we'll have to go back to the live feed. But yeah, that's Steve Boyce also suffered in that as well, so I think that's Steve Boyce slightly off there actually, and Dane Oliver as well. So but yeah, Chris Hardwick is taking the lead around the outside from Josh Banwell, coming into turn 1. So you see that how much that toe affected him. Josh got a great start, but it's toe up to the back of him. But I'm sure around. You see is that Nathan Burton made a move on Sean King.
Bit of contact, but they make the move done. So no, that's.
There they go with Michael Bolton now. Just on the back of Sean King, both lime green cars, but different teams will try and pull out of the slipstream and actually get a toe off Nathan Burton ahead of them. Nathan doing quite well in this, in 5th position. He moved up a few places from his position, but I think we're going to see Josh Banwell is. Let's see, Josh Banwell's taking the lead again from Chris Hardwick around the outside of turn 1, I think, as you just saw in the distance there as we try and cut on board. So there we go, Josh Banwell, just seen us before, like in the last race, we've seen the leaders chop and change all the time, and Sean King and Michael Boulding there just fighting their positions out on the first corner. See Nathan, so is that Nathan Burton's fell back from 5th place to 7th, yeah, so something must have happened there to Nathan. He might have gone wide at the exit of turn 1. But yeah, this the mid-pack battle. Look at the mid-pack is absolutely really tight. Darren Kirk in 8th position now, so he's made up a load of places, passing Dan Ryan in 9th, and he's on the inside of Nathan. Oh, that was close. Nathan just cutting him up there.
To keep an eye on those. So there's a car bit glitching in the front there. So here's Dan Ryan looking to the outside of Darren Kirk into the penultimate corner. See Darren. Doesn't look like he's got the legs on it, so
everybody's going to have a massive toe.
But then, exactly. So
expect these last 4 cars to toe up to the back of Sean King's in 5th position. So 5th to 9th, really, they could end up completely swapping their positions over by the time we get down to turn 1. So we'll have a watch now. Dan Ryan closing up on the back of Darren Kirk, who's closing up. Same on Nathan Burton. My apologies, just getting my tongue tied there. There's Darren now on the back of Nathan. He's going to switch to the inside. Nathan doesn't defend. He takes quite a bit of curve. It goes really sideways.
Gets very loose.
Wow, I can't believe he's managed to save that. In fact, since now Dan Ryan. Oh, Nathan's
gone wide, and now Dan Ryan's in the back.
Oh no, they're going to make contact. Oh no, Darren spins. So Dan Ryan, good save actually. So he slammed on the brakes and was able to recover that. But Dan Ryan and they just interlock wheels. I don't think that you could really apportion blame. Maybe Dan Ryan went a bit too hot into that corner, but then see Nathan Burton going slightly right.
Nathan Burton got in the way there, and obviously Dan Ryan trying to get past. So
yeah, it's a difficult one to call without seeing a replay. But we'll carry on with this race. We see Chris Hardwick having a look on Josh Banwell, I think, going into that corner. And oh no, Chris actually is
ahead. So
he must have made the move. I don't think our timings are shown quite correctly at the moment, but Chris definitely got past Josh going into that last corner there. But then he's just going to get the toe. Josh just going to get the toe back on Chris again. So
Mark Winwood as well. So it's very difficult to tell the difference between the two 130 racing cars. They've got the same white and blue colour scheme, but you can just see there with the tips of the wings and things like that. There's a red and there's a yellow one. As Josh takes to the apron.
Go right to the apron of the banking as they come across the line, pretty much side by side, 200th of a second in it. They go up. Josh retakes the lead again on the inside, going into turn 1, using all that curb. That's tricky to do that and get away with it, especially you don't want to break on them curbs. It'll just unsettle the car. So let's see, Sean King's gone fired off the track there by I don't know who. We'll have to try and get a replay of that, but so I don't know what. Ben's just trying to get us a replay, and he's spun again, in fact, so that's really unlucky. Trying to get back onto the track, he's just put a boot full on, and he's ended up spinning again on. Running really strong. Yeah, I think it's 5th position.
I think he was in 5th. Yeah, that's the position.
There's a massive shame for him. So Darren Kirk's still in 8th place as well, with Dan Ryan just ahead of him, and then ahead of these two we've got Nathan Burton, who we're watching right now. So we see Darren and Ryan fighting out in the background.
So here we go again with the slipstream battle with this top three. So you got Mark Winwood behind Chris Hardwick. These guys will be working together, and you can see on board there with that is Mark. That's Mark. That's Mark Winwood. You see there. So
they'll be definitely getting a for Josh. So we see these 130 racing cars. So you see the bar on the left going all the way to the right. See Chris Hardwick making a move to the inside of Josh Banwell coming into turn one, and I think he's already got the move done before he gets there. So Josh will file back inside. There we go. So Chris makes a move again. So these guys are basically working with each other at the moment, it seems. Josh is actually working with the Run 30 racing guys to actually pull a gap over Will Murphy. He's 2 seconds back and really hanging out with no one at the moment.
Back into 8th place as well. So
yes, as we see, Mark was going slightly wide there coming out of the exit 3.
He's now fighting again with
Matt Scott just behind him after Matt has his melee at the start, leading by 5 seconds at the start of the B race, but ended up spinning himself 3 times and putting himself out of the winning contention. As we see, who's that behind him? Is Dave,
we'll have to see if he's learned his lessons in this one, and see if we don't get a repeat of that first one. So
yes, we see. Oh no, there was so Mark's actually nearly got into the lead there, but actually might even have backed off. But Josh Banwell's back down into third place, and Chris Hardwick takes the lead from Mark Winwood now. So both 130 racing cars are in the lead.
Look at this, Josh got a mega slipstream. He's looking to the inside, going into the oval.
Yep, and he's going to try and use Chris as a tow, and he'll just tow his way past Mark Winwood there. Gets a bit of nearly a side swipe from Josh.
But there you go. Now Mark Winwood has now got the tow again into the
146 miles an hour coming into turn one. So I think that's one of the fastest speeds we've seen today. And these cars won't really do well than 150, especially with the long straight that we've got. But both go really wide, and then Mark's going to try and pull up the inside, but no, Josh tries and gets it. Chris goes all the way around the outside, and this is really hard to commentate on. But now they're both side by side, and Josh has actually gone around the outside on turn 2 of Chris Hardwick and take the lead. So that was an amazing move by Josh Banwell to secure that position. And now I think these 130 racing cars, they're not going to be battling each other, but they're really chasing down Josh Banwell pretty quick. He's doing an amazing job so far, Josh Banwell, in this race. We've got Will Murphy now closing up onto the back of these guys because they're all battling and losing time to each other. So
breathe.
I'm trying to breathe. So this is going to be a really interesting fight. We expected this to happen, and Josh Banwell's definitely spiced this race up even more than we were expecting.
Indeed. Right, now here we go again.
Michael Boulding in 5th place as well, the winner from the last race, started in 5th place. Now he's up to 5th, so he's made huge ground. But you see it's a full-on on-board shot of the 130 racing car of Mark Winwood in 3rd place in pod number 2, and you can see you can't see how much fuel. Actually, no, he's got 14 litres, I believe, of fuel left. But we see the move for the lead again with Chris Hardwick going through past Josh Banwell into turn 1. There's a yellow in sector 2, but Chris now moved place again with Josh Banwell really close on the back of him, nearly running into the back of him going into turn 1. But that only leaves to play into the hands of Mark Winwood, who's in 3rd place. And he's actually made it slight. Josh had a massive oversteer moment coming out of that corner, and Mark had a really good look to try and get his nose in front, but thought better of it. But we see all the time Will Murphy starting to close up on this pack here. So we see Michael Boulding just in the background in the lime green and black DM racing car. And this is going to be a very interesting battle set to unfold. We're only 10 minutes into this race. We've got
34 minutes of this. This is
I'm going to need another drink at this rate. But we're going to see a change for position, I'm sure, coming into turn 1. I don't think we've actually seen a lap so far that there hasn't been a change for the lead of the race. So more than we've seen in any Formula 1 race season. So we're showing you which series they're best to watch. As you see, Dave Hedges and Matt Scott. Dave Hedges very close to the back of Matt coming into the bowl, so he's going to get the toe off him and try and go round the outside. I think his car will start to neutral out with the speed difference going through up high on the banking as they come. So we've still got see Mark Winwood nearly going into back of Josh Banwell coming into turn 2 there, I think. So that's really close. You also see his tyres are nice and purple, so they're correct temperature. See him going up through the gears now. We'll try and keep on this leading battle for the moment, even though there's so much happening further back.
There was a spin a little further back. It looked like it was between one of the Cam Sport and one of the well, I can't remember their team name. I always forget. Was it R&B Motorsport? Yes, it was one of the RB Motorsport cars, and one of the Cam Sports. So unfortunately, we can't really get replays at the moment, which is very unfortunate. So we're going to have to
carry on,
stick with it. And
he's looking close to the back of these guys. I don't think he'll be able to get a toe just yet.
He's 1.5 off the back of the leader, I think. So
no, that's from the next car.
Is that from the next car?
I believe so. Yeah,
is it from the next car? Okay, so he's 1.4 back from the next car, but still, he's catching, and here we go again. Josh Banwell took to the outside. There was a slight bit of contact there, but Josh Banwell managed to hold on to it, but he's not going to take it. Yeah, he's
lost all his momentum.
He has indeed. So
it's really gets close to the braking zones, and Mark Winwood's going to try and just slide up the inside of Banwell, but Banwell in turn goes deep into that corner, nearly running to the back as Chris Hardwick going through into turn 2. Now this is everybody's using momentum as Mark's got a great run coming out onto the grass, in fact, up the inside of Josh.
Looks like he's going to try pull now onto the inside.
He pulls for another gear and goes up to the inside, just misses his teammate. They touch, they bang wheels, but gets away with it. But Josh is still on the outside. He's making his
but now he's going to have the inside, and Josh runs wide.
So Josh has gone off
wide there, so it falls back down into third place, and Mark Winwood finally now takes second place. So this is great for the 130 racing team.
He'll get into tow again, but now look at Will Murphy. He's closed that gap right up thanks to Josh Banwell's excursion off track, and he'll have the tow now. So this is now a 4-car battle for the lead after seeing the great battle between Josh, Mark and Chris earlier on in this race for the last 9 laps. So this is going to be interesting. I think this will be the first lap where we don't actually see a change for first position since the start of the race. So you see Darren Kirk now in 7th place, still making up ground. He's 5 tenths behind Nathan Burton. As you look back there, he is in 7th place with the last lap time, best of the race so far, 1:18.3. And he's going to be looking to make a bit of headway on Michael Boulding, our winner from the B race earlier on, and Nathan Burton. It's 31 minutes still to go in this race.
Yeah, and I mean, we've still got the pit stops to go, and as you've seen from the last one, the drivers can make mistakes with that, so there is still plenty of opportunity for these guys to gain time and get up those positions. And I say there, as we're looking there, we've got Darren Kirk, Nathan Burton and Michael Boulding there in this little group of 3. Obviously, Darren Kirk kind of on a recovery drive after qualifying badly, and now he's getting up there.
That's the excitement we see from the 1-lap shootout. I think we're going to see a move here from Darren. He moves to the inside, he's going to brake really late, he's going to dive into the inside of
it's a good move. Good move by Darren Kirk, that one.
Nathan tries to get the undercut back. It gets really squirrely on the grass on the way out. And everybody's gritting their teeth here.
Now he's got the slipstream on Michael Boulding now, so this is really crucial for Darren Kirk. Can he make 2 moves in 1 lap?
But you've got to watch out for Nathan as well. He's going to get a double toe, in fact.
Darren, what he's done, he's moved out the slipstream early. He's going to fall back into
the two leaders are side by side as well, as we see Josh Banwell's screen. As he tried to avoid really nearly into the back of Mark Winwood, but Chris Hardwick and Mark Winwood, obviously teammates, are trying to fight together. We see the battle further back with Darren Kirk now on the inside of Mark Boulding.
There's contact.
And Darren really
forces his way through, and Nathan Burton taking advantage of that, moves on the inside, but he's not going to get the move yet.
Contact from them too. Luckily, we haven't got damage onto those.
Well, fantastic from Darren Kirk, now moving up into 5th
place. As we see, Josh Banwell's just moving to 2nd place for Mark Winwood now. As Mark made a bit of a mistake out of that last corner. There's too much going on. We need about 4 commentary teams to keep up with what's going on here. But you see now there's going to be a move for 2nd place for Chris Hardwick. Very close to the back of Josh Banwell there, but gets away with it. These cars seem to be pretty good on the brakes. None of them are locking up or anything like that. So we're seeing some great moves up to the inside coming into these tight hairpin corners. And this is just a taster of what we expect to see further on in the championship every month. So the first Sunday of every month, this championship will be running at different American circuits. As we see Josh Banwell getting close to the back again, we're going to see a move for the lead. He goes 2 wheels on the inside of the white line, past Chris Hardwick. They're going to be side by side into turn 1, goes over the curve again. Chris will try and get the cut back, but no, Josh managed it out beautifully and he's really he seems to be really strong on the brakes, Josh, coming into turn 1 as we see 132.
He is.
Oh no, there's
And that's Nathan Burton
sliding off the road. So more bad luck for Nathan after.
and that looked by himself
series,
there. Yeah, no, it didn't seem like there was any contact there. So
he just went off and clipped the grass, and that's what happens. You can't get the car slowed down. 140 miles an hour to zero doesn't happen quickly.
it's a
on the
very
grass.
difficult braking zone into turn 2.
130 race cars almost side by side. We've got Mark Windward and Chris Hardwick still battling each other. This is a fantastic fight out at the front. We see Will Murphy, and I think he's just sitting back playing the long game,
he's
waiting for something to happen out front, and then he could potentially pounce and even win this race. That was very strange. That was a very strange incident. It seemed Josh Banwell didn't really get the car slowed down. Chris Hardwick got the car slowed down a bit too much, and Mark Windward ended up nearly collecting him. But this is going to be really interesting now. So Josh is moving about a lot, trying to break the toe from these two 130 race cars. They're going side by side round the banking. So Mark Windward's going to lose the place to Chris Hardwick as they come through. Whoa, that's tight. Through there, 140 miles an hour side by side, and now Chris is now going to get, Mark even is going to get a double toe off these two cars once again coming into turn 1. I'm going to need a hat. I need some sort of medical equipment to help me out with this. I need a pacemaker or something. But Josh Banwell in that Jordan-esque livery car going through to complete lap 13. So there's only 2/10 of a second separating the top 3. It's an immense battle. As you see cars further back in the distance.
You can see Darren Kirk in the background there,
still
always
battling with
gaining.
Michael Boulding. So it's going to be very interesting.
I can tell you now, we're looking at my screens, the last lap between Darren Kirk and these front runners was a second faster. Darren is catching.
Well, you see, they did have that excursion from the corner that we're on now. They kind of almost constituted effect up on each other. We see Darren going to make a move on. Oh, there's a massive lunge, and he actually
right, but they made it.
I can't believe he got away with it.
That was the closest
he
I've ever seen.
absolutely sent it on that one. He got the Callum Cripps sign of approval on that. So Josh Banwell still in the lead from 0.3 of a second, but I think that gap's going to be decreased slightly. See the on-board from Chris Hardwick. We can use that to still keep on the leading battle of these guys. We turn now to the live screen, and they're side by side. I think Chris Hardwick's maybe just going to get in front of Josh Banwell. No, he just Josh holds him off. And there's a yellow in sector 2, so I don't know if someone's gone off there. We'll have to try and investigate that later on in the race. But yeah, it's it's just a mega battle. One of the better races I've seen here at Simply Race so far. And to have all these cars battling for so many different positions, it's just awesome, and a really good introduction to this new series. And if you think this is good, just wait until a few more races time. We're going to see these guys even more experienced than these guys, and they're going to be properly on the limit. So this is only just a taste of what's to come later on in the series. So still Josh Banwell out front with Chris Hardwick second. We've seen the guys that slid off earlier on, so Dane Oliver is now 43 seconds behind, so maybe he's pitted. I don't remember seeing Dane.
I don't remember seeing.
So, there's been an accident at the front, so that's Chris Hardwick's now spun out, so the race leader, the guy that was really hard challenging for the leaders ended up spinning out, so I think he just clipped the grass on the exit of that corner there. I don't think there was any contact with Josh Banwell, but that means that Mark Windward now is solely the only 130 racing challenger for this race. Darren Kirk is now up to 4th position after starting from the back, so he's made up 11 positions, and he's only 3 seconds away from a podium place. This is amazing from Darren Kirk. He's going to be really happy with that after this race, as long as he keeps his momentum. And Josh Banwell defending again from Mark Windward. Now, has Mark got the raw pace to really challenge? I think Chris seemed to be more feisty at the start of this race. Mark's a very thinking driver, and he will only attack when he really needs to.
Yeah, and I say we've got the pit stops coming up soon as well. So
yes, so pit stops going to be coming up. I think we're going to get them around the 20-15 minute mark, so we'll have another 5 or 10 minutes or so of this racing at this stage with the fuels as they are. So everybody's on exactly the same fuel now. As they started the race on the same fields. We see Chris Hardwick now back in 6th position after leading for most of this race, with Michael Boulding just behind him. We see Darren Kirk is in field with Dan Ryan, so just ahead of Chris Hardwick. So, and there's Darren Kirk there just going out of shot. So Darren's made an amazing. He's actually closing on the leader, so we could actually see Darren. I mean, we've just gone pretty much halfway through this race nearly. And we could see Darren potentially winning this race. It's going to be
Michael Boulding getting very wobbly at the back there, going into the going into the oval part of the circuit. We're going back at the front now, so we've got Mark Winwood who's back into the front now, and Josh Banwell looking to the outside going into the first corner. Obviously, as we've seen, first corner doesn't really work too well, so going around the outside, and as you can see there, he stays in second place. So Mark Winwood still leading the way in this one. Will Murphy again, he's just sitting there quietly in third place. He's not gaining, he's not losing time, so he's having quite a comfortable race there. So now we can see that Josh Banwell now he's got the toe, maybe looking for a dive down the inside here into the infield circuit. Looks for it, doesn't quite make it, stays behind Mark Winwood. So as you see there, these two drivers still battling very fiercely. So now we're coming into the penultimate corner again. It's where you can get a good slipstream now. It's, a lot of drivers have made dummy moves there, looking to the outside, and then they swipe down to the inside. But then again, you do see that drivers do make a mistake, and there you go.
There we go.
Josh Banwell has lost the back end, and Will Murphy progresses up into second
Darren
place.
Kirk's in third.
So there you go, Darren
Oh
Kirk.
my goodness me, and he's just trying and get back on the circuit. You see Chris Hardwick now passing
now
the guy who
he's got
spun out
that
earlier at the same
gap.
corner. So that corner seems to be the trouble corner, but Josh Banwell's got second position in effect, first as well, to 8th position. He's completely ruined his chances.
He has, but his only solace again now is the pit stops. The pit stops are coming up
Now
soon.
also, we see Dane Oliver was 40 seconds or so back, wasn't he, earlier on in this race? He has actually, I just went up to his into his pod, and he has actually pitted really early on and put a lot of fuel in, so we could actually see Dane Oliver. Keep an eye on him. He's taken 5 seconds out of the leaders, I think, in the last few laps.
Oh really?
We can actually see him.
So we could see Dane
potentially.
get the
if you
comeback.
think about it now, how long's a pit stop? It's about 30 seconds. Dane is only 35 seconds away. Actually, is that from the next car? That's from the next car. So he's 1 minute behind. So we could still see him in the mid pack. Okay, 8th position maybe, but where Josh Banwell is, who was leading the race.
Yeah.
So this race completely turned on its head. You see Dane all on his own right there, but he's got enough fuel to get him to the end of this race easily. So Mark Winwood's now got a bit of breathing space, but Darren Kirk is now about the top three are exactly the same gap between one another.
Yeah. So we've got the two teammates here of Dave Hedges and Michael Balding, and the two very green cars there with the red tip noses.
Yeah, the DM racing cars.
So see these guys, see if they're going to work quickly. As Dave Hedges slightly outbreaks himself there, takes the later apex though.
Definitely, Josh Banwell's going to be looking to get past these guys pretty quickly and get on the charge again. I think he just seemed to go too deep into that corner, clip the grass, and that was it.
Like he just clipped the grass, and as soon as he got that under brake in, he just lost it, and it just carried on the grass. So it was very unfortunate for Josh Banwell. But these guys working together now, they've got the slipstream. There's a very late dive there from Dave Hedges into the pits. I thought he crashed there, but no, he gone straight into the pit. So
really, you want to filter yourself off nice and smoothly onto that onto the apron, as we call it, the flat bit of the dome.
Yeah.
And he just seemed to fire it up. I thought he had a steering problem then, but he stops in his box just about.
Slightly outbraked himself, but yeah, no, he's still got the
so you see there, the fuel is 20.
It's a bit hot as he wipes his head.
Very hot. But he's got 22 seconds of fuel, so he's stationary for that amount of time. Obviously, he requested the pit stop as well, which means the pit is as quick as it can be. As we see Colin Talbot and Nathan Burton both off the road, so I think they've both had a bit of contact maybe. As David Robertson, we're expecting Dave to be up there, and he's just where's Dave been? I think he had an incident at the start of the race, it seems, and just hasn't been managed to come through it. We were expecting massive things from David Robertson, and he's just hasn't seemed to deliver them after his stunning lap in practice. We see, that was really close from Sean King on the back of Colin Talbot, nearly clipping his rear wheels, so that was lucky to get away from that. But we see Darren Kirk now edging closer to Will Murphy. I think Darren's going to be amazed that he's got this far up. I mean, it's kind of been from. It's a bit like Lance Stroll in Azerbaijan. It's from other people's dilemmas, but still he's fought a good 8 places, I'd say, or so to get to that position that he's in. So fair play to Darren after mocking him at the start for that woeful qualifying. He's done really well.
Looks like David Robertson pulling out the slipstream going into the banking section of the oval. Move
further up to Michael Balding with Chris Hardwick, who was internally in the race, and Josh Banwell just following that. So these two, after spinning out, Josh has obviously lost more time than Chris. To see them two fight so early on, those were the two prominent people in the top position. Mark Winwood, my apologies, was just kind of hanging back, and you can see he was the more subtle driver at that stage of the the race.
Yeah.
And just kind of holding back, didn't want to get into too many fights and just see what happens. But them two both are being a bit too far, both fired themselves off.
Yeah.
And Mark, like being the more consistent driver, has been able to take the lead of this race. And as actually pulling away from Mark, Will Murphy, and Darren Kirk closing up on them in turns. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
I wonder how Michael Boulding is feeling in this car at the moment. You've got to think, he won the last race. He's already done 45 minutes.
Well, look at his lap times. I mean, his last lap time was his best of the race at 1:18.75. So
well,
the
that
fuel's
tells
coming
you
down,
really then.
and that tells you how he's doing. He's doing pretty damn good at the moment. You see David Robson and Nathan Burton in 10th and 11th. Just
these guys have been scrapping hard, because you've been seeing that these cars have been going off circuit a little bit, having a little bit of incursions. But
yeah, you see the lap times 1:18.7, exactly the same as Michael Boulding's time. So it's not exactly that David Robson's slow, but I think he's just had some really bad luck in this race and qualifying.
Yeah.
And but hopefully we'll see him back now. He'll definitely get a toe off the back of Nathan Burton's car.
Yeah.
And he'll go into turn one. I think Nathan's may defend now. He doesn't have time for it. And lets David Robertson through. So the 130 racing car, the lowest 130 racing car, moves up into 10th place. So all cars now in the top 10. But the most prominent one is Mark Winwood at the moment, 3.5 seconds down to Will Murphy. So he's actually, you see David getting a bit of oppo on out coming out turn one.
That is all four of the 130 racing cars in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely, just as we said. So that's going to be very interesting to see how we go. But there's definitely time, I think, for some pit stops to intervene. Dane Oliver has already got ahead of Colin Talbot, who subsequently pitted a few moments ago. So Dane Oliver already making up a place from that early pit stop. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Dane progresses in this one. And really, because now everybody knows from watching Michael Boulding in the first race how many litres to put in. Technically, if you had a problem on lap one, you could pit after lap one, put 10 litres in, and then run pretty much till the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it won't actually cost you that much time at all. So you'll have your car will be heavier, but then you know that you don't have to stop again for the rest of the race. So
exactly.
It's going to be very interesting. We see Josh Banwell now got onto the back of, I believe this is Michael Boulding for position. So this is for 6th, and he goes up the inside of him.
Oh, that's a fantastic move. Just pokes the
Michael
nose
just
up
goes
in
around the
there.
outside of him. Wow.
Doesn't make it complete though, so just couldn't get the traction on those rear wheels there. And there's Josh Banwell who moves back behind Michael Boulding. Again, he's going to get a slipstream into this corner here. Doesn't looks about it, but doesn't quite do it.
So Josh was the won the taste race here that we ran a few weeks ago.
He did, yes.
And it's just showing how promising he is in this championship. I think he's going to be actually one that's really going to a threat for the championship leader at the end of this race if he goes to the outside, right on the white line.
Josh Bauer almost having a repeat of what he did when he lost first place. So
but he's just got to hold back. You don't need to go gun-ho into that corner, because all you're going to do is just lose the toe. So now he's going to drift right up to the back of him again. And see what happens. It's well worth. Now there's a gap between the gap for second place actually is only 0.7, and second Darren Kirk's actually made
on the apron.
And Darren Kirk's actually made a move on Will Murphy as well for second place. So Darren's doing a fantastic job as we see
so
Josh
cars
Banwell,
are in the pits. Cars are in the pits. So we've got Will Murphy and we've got Dan Ryan in the pits now. This promoting these two up into 4th and 5th place.
As we see Josh nearly getting a tap there from Michael Boulding into the back, but Josh makes that move stick and goes up into 4th place, barring any pit stops at the moment. So this is going to be very interesting to see. As you see now there's a fuel
warning light,
and there's a car going very slowly. Who was that? Was that Matt Goodger-Scott going very slow? I think it was.
I think it was. Yes, it was.
Oh no, it's Colin Talbot. My apologies. Going slowly there, so he's just letting those two. Colin seemed to have dropped it on the exit of that corner, so that's why he was pulling away slowly. But Josh, you can see now he's selecting through, and he's actually selecting his fuel now. So this is a great view of what you actually see when you hit the press button. You'll get a menu just like that with the yellow writing. So he's choosing his fuel. And there's 14 minutes to go.
Now's a good time to do it on the straight.
That's a good time to do it on the straight, but he wants to request it before he goes into the pits, remember, because he hasn't actually requested it yet. There we go, he's requested it now, and the little spanner's come up in the top left-hand corner. So, Josh, we're expecting him in this lap, so it will be confirmed.
Well, he might not come in this lap, he might be in the next lap, so, to give his pit crew time.
Well, saying that, I think the pit crew will be ready now, to be honest, because it's only fuel, not tyres.
Oh, yeah, and as you see, they've both come in. So, Michael Boulding has followed, and we've got Darren Kirk. It looks like one of the 130 racing cars is also pitted as well.
So the top, Yeah, the top 5 are all in the pits, it seems, as Matt Good-Scott goes up into 3rd place, but he hasn't pitted yet.
We need to keep an eye on Dane Oliver to see where he comes out of this one. Obviously, we don't expect him to pit. There he is, he's midway around the track.
Steve Boyce, I don't think has made a pit stop yet. Possibly he might have done. We've seen Steve running around about 10th to 12th place, so we'll see how he goes. Matt Good-Scott now our new leader of the race, barring pit stop changes. So as we see, Matt Good-Scott and then Colin Talbot, who's actually about to be lapped just ahead of him.
Well,
So Mark Winwood goes out, and we'll try and get a pit lane camera going for the viewers as we see cars exiting the pit. So we've got Mark Winwood and Darren Kirk have just left, and they've dropped Chris Hardwick. So Chris Hardwick, and now Dave Hedges just goes ahead of Chris Hardwick coming out of the pit. So I don't think Dave has pitted yet. So that's really not ideal for Chris, because he really wanted to get on and get going, but now he's got Dave Hedges in front of him, who may hold him up. But Darren Kirk now in 3rd place after starting from the very back. Done a great job. He's actually jumped Will Murphy.
So I'm trying to think, Matt Good-Scott, he's not pitted yet, has he?
No, so technically our leaders are Mark Winwood, and then 4 seconds back, starting from the absolute back, is Darren Kirk. Darren could win this race. If he does,
Matt Good-Scott is now in the pits.
So we'll see the lead change, and we'll see where Matt comes out. So I'm expecting Matt to come out around 10th place, but we'll see how he gets on as he will pull into his pit box on the left-hand side. See the battle between Michael Boulding and Josh Banwell after they came out the pit. So they both didn't make any ground on that, and Josh stays behind Michael Boulding. So we'll see a view in a moment of the pit lane. There we go. So that's the Cam Sport car of Matt Good-Scott. So I think we just saw the leader go through there. There's Darren Kirk,
that's second, third,
and there's Will Murphy in the purple car there.
now into 4th place.
Matt Good-Scott just reappears on our screen. He's still in the pits, so we'll see Josh Banwell and Michael Boulding leading. So he'll rejoin in about 9th place, I believe. So yeah, there we go, 9th place, just going out the pits now, just ahead of Steve Boyce. So that's good for Matt. Obviously, he wants to be a bit further up, but after his off-track excursions in the first race, I think we're pretty pleased with how this race is going so far. With
Definitely.
The high calibre of drivers. But I'm really impressed with Darren Kirk at the moment. But is he going to catch Mark Winwood with 11 minutes remaining?
Well, 11 minutes. He's only 4 seconds behind. I mean,
now see, after everybody's pit stop, I think Steve Boyce has had his pit stop now. So Dane Oliver is 11th place, so not as high as we were really expecting after that first pit stop, and really early on because he had a problem. So, but still pretty good run from Dane. Obviously, we'll see him further up. He's only 1.3 seconds behind Steve Boyce. So that's going to be interesting to see how they get on. Steve, obviously, in the RB Motorsport car. You see the static camera coming through the long bowl, doing about 130 to say whiz past us. And that was, I believe that was, well, I saw Josh Banwell in there in 7th place. So that was about from 4th to 9th place, I believe, just going through. Is Dane Oliver in that red and green car. I think there's a bit of contact further back. I heard somebody moaning about something.
I did hear something. I don't know who it was. I was trying to
try and find out what that was. We see Dave Hedges getting a good old bit of oversteer. I don't know if has Dave Hedges pitted yet? Because he's in 4th place. I think he's doing pretty well for now.
I'm not sure. He was quite far down in the order a bit later. So. Was he midfield? 8th place? Okay. So, Callum's just going to go have a look. He's going to go do his pit lane stalking to see what he can find out. But I mean, we're still watching Chris Hardwick here on the back of Dave Hedges. As Callum is scurrying back over.
So it turns out Dave Hedges has actually pitted and got 9 litres left.
Oh right, okay.
So he's in a pretty prominent position. I mean, obviously, with help from Chris Hardwick and Josh Banwell spinning out earlier on in the race, this enabled Dave to get into a really strong position, but really strong to see Dave move up in such a early part of the series, with these regulars at Simply Race from Josh Banwell and Michael Boulding.
Dave was taking part again in our previous SRTCC series. He did fairly well in that one, but again he was very new to the season. He did struggle, and I mean, coming in, it just shows into this season series that he's improved dramatically on the Sims, and it's running.
He's really suiting these cars. It seems.
Place now in the A group. So I
This is
believe
on board with Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
Just looking at the back of Michael Balding's car.
That's Dave Hedges' car.
Dave Hedges' car. My apologies. Sorry, they're both green and black. It's just making his way through a lot of first gear corners here. His car's really high geared in first, so you can get up to about 84 miles an hour in first gear, which is pretty impressive. You could run the motorway in first gear. I don't think you can do that with any other car, so that's pretty cool. We see the gap for the lead extending from Mark Winwood to Darren Cook, so it's looking pretty good for Mark at the moment.
Well, I'm just looking at the sector times between these two drivers. Sector 1 for Darren Kirk was identical to Mark's. In the second sector, again, Darren was actually 2/10 faster than Mark Winwood. So we just have to see what they do into the third sector and just see how that gets on. But the gap down to 4.9. Oh, sorry.
So Chris Hardwick has just overtaken Dave Hedges, and as he was looking at the sector times there, but Chris Hardwick
I was completely
now
oblivious
has just Dave Hedges just getting back, so he's going for the move again up into turn 2, goes to the inside and just covers him off, gives him a good old chat from the rear it seems, and Chris Hardwick is through into 4th place, so he's going to try and go on the charge after Will Murphy now, but I don't think he'll be able to manage up from the end of this. We got a yellow in sector 2, so I'll try and find where that is. I don't think it's anything major, but then again it is quite a long one, so I think someone might have spun off somewhere. As we see Matt Goodschott on the back of Steve Boyce and Dane Oliver. We see a replay here. I think we'll see a replay of it's Balding just going at
I think it's just,
I think that was just
still
a bit
glitching,
of a glitch there, so
it's unfortunate.
it's all good, but that was Michael Balding's car just glitching out a tiny bit. But we see Josh Banwell running in 6th after leading this race early on with Chris Hardwick in 4th. So I think Josh really going to be chasing to get Chris, if anything, to try and put some points on the board for the championship. We only have a 3-round series so far, so it's really every point counts. As we go to the second round next month, but we see Josh starting to close up on these two cars. He got really actually onto the grass, so we had a bit of understeer there, which is quite unusual from the cars.
How far back is Michael Balding from Josh Banwell?
Not very, I don't think. So we'll try and get on the back of them. How far back is he? It's about a second. So I don't think he's too close behind him. The gap that we're watching here is only 0.3 of a second. We see actually
is that a car?
That's a car. That's Sean King, who's I think he's just given up here. But it's backwards in the barrier. But he didn't seem to be moving very much, so we'll try and get on board with Sean King and see what happens.
Yeah, no, I can see Sean King on a stool, so I think he has retired.
Seems to have given up, so just
a whole lot of the race.
Yeah, I'd say
to be
King
fair,
has done a lot of racing.
He has done a lot of races tonight,
and it's very hot in here.
Yeah, so Matt Goodschott, you got to keep that in mind. Michael Balding's just come off a race really, he's been concentrating very hard since Matt Goodschott. So all these guys, they've been in the pods now for 45 minutes, hour and a half racing, including practice. So that's basically a stint in SRES, which I've struggled to do last time.
I don't know why he pulled out of the toe there. He was.
We'll try and get the cutback going into turn 1. We try and switch to that group as we see Josh Banwell. It's okay because they didn't actually make a move, so they stay as the positions they came into the corner as. But Colin Talbot running down in 14th place, he's not going to be very happy with that. And Dave Robertson in 13th. We're expecting so much from Dave in the early parts of, in the practice sessions for this meeting, but it seems that he's just not making the progress that he wants to. As we're back now with 10th place Matt Goodschott staring at the back of Steve Boyce's car as they come up to a yellow, which has got Sean King's car buried in the back of it. You can see it up ahead, but that's not a problem as it's well out of the way. The leading gap has nearly stretched out to pretty much 6 seconds now from Mark Winwood to Darren Cook, so 1:30 Racing will be very happy with that.
I'd say, yeah.
And, we'll see if I don't think Chris Hardwick will close back up to Will Murphy, but we could actually potentially, if Will has a little off-track excursion, maybe even see a 1:30 Racing 1-2-3 on the podium.
Maybe. I mean, it could possibly happen. I mean, this gap here is still quite to run as well. So Josh Banwell in the in the toe
Yeah, I'd
there.
quite like to stay on that group actually with Josh Banwell. He looked like he was going to definitely make a move on Dave Hedges. We'll have to see. As he moves to the outside of the train. Whoa, both side by side, and
They've got
Josh
Chris
goes
Hardwick in
round the
front of them as
outside.
well.
Josh goes round the outside there. Great move. He had a tiny bit of washout understeer as well going into that corner, but gets the job done. So right on the limit of grip. But a great move from Josh. We've seen some cracking moves, and now we're going to get the battle again, which we saw for first place earlier for
We did indeed.
fourth
So,
place instead between Chris Hardwick and Josh Banwell. Seems that Josh is pretty quick in this stage of the race. And as we run down under 4 minutes now until the end of this race, but Josh is really looking promising. Chris not using all the road that really he could have done coming out of that final corner. I think he got a bit of a wobble on, but it is quite difficult, especially these cars. They're not very wide at all. They are quite slim in their profile. So
very close there under braking. So
yeah, we'll definitely see some sort of move here from Josh as he'll get the toe and he'll just drift right up to the back of Chris Hardwick. Obviously, Chris was 0.6 of a second slower on that last lap than Josh, as we can see. He put in a 118.2, so he goes round to the outside. He'll just completely lose all momentum there. He'll have to go back down to the inside again.
yeah,
there you
we
go.
see this move there. They'll just cut back in
And
there.
now Chris is really hugging that inside line. He's white lining it all the way to turn 1. And we'll have to see Josh, if he wants to make the move, go round the outside, and he's going to try it. But he's just going
Oh, is he gonna
just
wind up on that
2 wheels on the
grass?
grass. He gets the car stopped. Pretty good driving from Josh, even though he used all the track and a bit more to try and get that car slowed down. But he's lucky he didn't slam on the brakes when he was on that grass.
There's Michael Boulding on Dan Ryan.
Next to us side by side
done.
through turn 1. And Dan Ryan just keeping
Holding on
ahead
to it,
at the moment.
keeping Michael Boulding in check there.
Yeah.
As I say, they both won bright white there, so putting some wheels on the grass as we come into this infield section now under the braking. See how that goes as we're looking on board now with Chris Hardwick. I believe he's got Josh Banwell on his tail. I think, yeah, as you can see there further up. So there we go. So Josh Banwell again now. He's got the he's going to get the slipstream into this final section of the circuit onto the oval. So we'll see how it gets on with this one. They're both hugging the inside. Josh Banwell tucking into the inside.
Chris is going to be looking in his mirrors as he comes through. He's going to see Josh just breeze up to the back of him. Yeah, you can see it actually in his mirrors on the screen. You can see Josh just right in the middle there, following his draft, and he'll move to the outside. Josh really likes that outside line, and he's going to go really wide and then cut back in again. He's going to be right on.
That's closest contact.
Oh,
and Mark
Mark
gone.
spinning straight across the track and just misses out, collecting Josh Banwell. But that's a real shame for this to come to a head, and Chris actually spins again. And hopefully he doesn't collect anybody else coming back onto the track. He doesn't, but that's a real shame. It's now Chris is back into 8th place after leading so early on. So this race is a complete change around. We see Dane Oliver now into the top 10 after pitting really early on. So he's passed Matt Goodger Scott, and we'll try and watch that back so we get another view of it. But yeah, that was a pretty bold move there from Josh Banwell. I don't think there's much point. Maybe Josh could have given a tiny bit more room as Chris really decided to go up onto the curbs. We've seen him do that before and been okay with it. So yeah, it's a real shame to see that battle come to a head like it did. But now we're back with Michael Boulding chasing down Dan Ryan, who are now in 6th and 7th places. But we only have 46 seconds left of this race. It's gone pretty quickly. There's a 6-second gap to Mark Winwood. He's just going through. It says last lap on the screen, and that's what it is. As Mark Winwood comes through to complete his final lap, we'll ride on board with him for the meantime, unless there's any other drastic action that happens further back. We see Michael Boulding. I don't think he's going to catch Dan Ryan in time, as Dan Ryan was much quicker on that last lap as well. It was half a second quicker, so it seems to be pulling away.
So
as Michael Boulding goes wide into turn 1 as well. So
I believe now we are on the last lap, so I don't know where Mark Winwood is.
Yep, so the gap's only 5.8 to the leader as we go into the bowl for the last time. So we'll try and get on board with the leaders. Mark will be coming round to complete the lap soon, so we'll get on board with him. But I think everybody's pretty much stabled out now. So this is Mark Winwood's view coming out. He's flat all the way to the flag now, so he's pretty much got this one. As long as he doesn't run out of fuel, which I'm pretty sure. I don't think anybody's run out of fuel, so the fuel's been pretty good today. Everybody's judged it pretty much to perfection. Obviously Dane Oliver has tried that the undercut early on and just pitted
Didn't work out. I mean, he gained 4 places from it, but
yeah. But here we see Mark Winwood coming across the line. Fantastic win for him. 6 seconds clear, keeping out of all the melee from Chris Hardwick and Josh Banwell. He's done a fantastic job. You can see the earphones are off already. He's got a fan next to him to keep him cool in pod number 2. But Mark Winwood takes the win. Darren Kirk in amazing second place after starting from the very back after having a terrible qualifying session. Will Murphy an impressive 3rd and last on the podium for him for the Purple Helmets driver. Josh Banwell in 4th after looking so promising. Good recovery from him. Dave Hedges in a very impressive 5th place. Really happy with that. He will be. I'm pretty sure the DM Racing driver really made good work with that. Good work with that race. Dan Ryan in 6th place. Michael Boulding, after winning the B class final, he finishes in 7th. Chris Hardwick, after having a really great battle with Josh Banwell and Mark Winwood at the start, comes home in 8th. Steve Boyce in 9th. Matt Goodschott in 10th. Dane Oliver tried the undercut at the very start of the race, but didn't manage to do it. He came home in 11th place. Nathan Burton looked strong at the start, was up to about 5th position, dropped back down to 12th. David Robson, expected a lot from him, but seemed to not deliver during this race in 13th. Colin Talbot disappointing 14th, and Sean King ended up not finishing the race as I think he had enough of it. So that's our grid for the final race. But I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back very shortly with the podium place. You can see Will Murphy standing over by the aircon. He's absolutely sweating buckets, so hopefully he won't come near me. And Matt Scott as well. He's looking. He's not looking too happy with himself. I think he's. What have you done? I don't think he's. You haven't quite had a shower, but it's close to it. Yeah, we'll try and get our winner over here. Actually, it's Darren as well. We'll try and get Darren over. Darren, come over and have a. Darren, how was that? It's from 15th place to 2nd, made up a good 13 positions. How was that?
That was the hottest, sweatiest, most intense sim race I think I've ever had. I could not get. I was pouring back on Mark here, and I couldn't. He just was pegging me. And Will drove fantastically, but I just couldn't eke it out. I thought, right, I've got to try and jump in the pit stop. I can't do it. I didn't want to overtake him on track. Yeah, so yeah, that was awesome. And you two, what a race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mark, you saw the battling at the start between Josh and Chris, and obviously you can see you weren't as involved in the battling as much as you're basically sitting there watching, waiting for something to unfold, and eventually did, both of them actually going off and not really making contact with each other, just going off out of pressure from the other two. So you read that race really well.
It's kind of what I was thinking. I was always mindful it was a 45-minute race, so when we were battling 10 laps in, I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to sit here, just stay in their toe. I felt like I was a little bit quicker, but I couldn't get past them and get them to break away, so I thought I'm going to have to just wait till late in the race. As it happens, I think I don't know whether Chris ran off coming out of the last corner. And then it was just me and Josh. So it was a little bit more pressure because it's a bit more difficult to stay one car than two. And then, I got past Josh and I thought I'll just try and really hammer it on the infield to just see if I can break enough of the gap to break the toe. But couldn't really do it. And then I think he just missed his braking point because he ran to the back of it going to the final turn. And I didn't really break early. So after that, it was just a question of getting into the rhythm and not messing the pit stop on, really.
Yeah, great. So it's a fantastic race as well. I'm sure just from your perspective, you can see lots of different race winners, but I think we're going to have the podium very, very soon. So we'll try and switch cameras. So actually, Ben has already done that, so it's all good. And Ben, do you want to take the mic for the comments?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Thank you, Callum. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Okay, brilliant. Guys, thank you very much. Drivers, mega racing. I'm sure there are a couple of things people want me to watch, and that's fine. I'll look at them in the end. I don't believe it's going to change the podium, so we're going to stick with the podium now, and then I'll give you the full updated results later on. Absolutely mega racing, even from the B race. The B race was amazing. The A race was fantastic as well. Obviously, a couple of incidents here and there, but when you guys are racing so hard, it's a difficult thing to kind of. But yes, we're going to move on to the podium then. First of all, I want to say well done to Josh. You should have been on the top podium, really. A little mistake. Pace was mega, but there we go. Anyway, 3rd place today. Do give a big round of applause, please, to Mr. Will Murphy. second place after starting 15th and last on the grid. Big round of applause to Darren Kirk, please. And after an excellent race, I'm very sorry to Mark, sorry not Mark, Chris, because he had such a great race at the start as well, along with Josh, but keeping it on the track and being incredibly consistent throughout. Big round of applause to Mark Winwood, please. Very good. So there's your podium. Thank you very much to everyone watching, and I'm sure you guys are watching back as well. The next round is on the first Sunday of August, whichever that date is, the 4th, I think. 6th. There we go. It's on the 6th. By the way, everyone, we've got lots of races next week. They're like super cheap, and we are going to live broadcast them as well. British Touring Car Thursday. All the British Touring cars, you can choose all the different ones. We've got the classic Spa Grand Prix 1991 cars on Wednesday. So we've got a couple of streams going on there. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you all again at the next round. I hope we'll see some other people as well. Thank you very much. See you later. Thank you.
I thought I'd taken 6 times. I leave the space. Yeah, no, you gave me so much credit.